Hey.
Patrice, baby, I love you, baby.
The babysitter was in the bed at the time that Mr. Gambrilla came home, but I did not cheat on him.
I really want you back. Will you please come back home with me? Trip or whatever with a friend. He didn't want to live here no more in Indy or whatever. And I was like, okay, I felt for it. I told him that I'd come back home with his daughter.
That's how she got in the house. Because my mom loved pizza. There was pepperonis every night.
First of all, his mother doesn't even eat pork, so I don't know why you're lying. He's a liar.
My mom,
that's the manipulator.
My mom.
Listen. To me behind his back and be like, oh, let's leave him. He's so good.
You were snapping photos.
We should get a house together.
I come home one day, Your Honor. I got my female friend with me. I'm thinking I'm about to go and have a relaxed time in my room.
Mr. Miller brings his girlfriend, Miss Troutman, to Judge Lauren's courtroom. He accuses her of having multiple affairs right before she got pregnant with their child. Now, he has doubts about the paternity of the baby.
Mr. Miller, you claim Troutman left you for another man.
Yes,
you
ma'am.
say that when she returned and quickly resumed your sexual relationship.
Yes.
Shortly after she announced she was pregnant, claimed there's a distinct possibility that you're not the father of her newborn baby.
Nope.
Miss Troutman does not deny the claims. She admits to cheating, but says it was because Mr. Miller was neglecting his duties and responsibilities. She also blames his mother for meddling too much in their affairs.
How did you end up in this situation?
Well, I wouldn't have been sleeping around with other men if he was doing his responsibility as a father and taking care of his girls and me also. He wasn't buying diapers, wipes, clothes. His mother was the man of our relationship. She took care of us.
She explains that she would not have stepped out of the relationship if Mr. Miller had taken proper care of her and her daughters. Instead, it was his mother who stepped in and supported them. She shares that she grew up without a father and had to care for her siblings, something she was tired of.
So I started to run away from home. Well, when I ran away from home, I had met Tony's mother, Cindy. Clothes, roof over my head, food in my mouth. She was a mother that I never had before. I love her dearly and I thank her dearly for doing that for me.
Miss Troutman recalls running away from home, which led her to meet Mrs. Sidney, Mr. Miller's mother. Mrs. Sidney took her in, provided food, clothing, and shelter. One day, while they were sitting outside, a car pulled up and Mr. Miller stepped out. They immediately connected and had sex that same night.
Oh, you got to know each other just a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
We clicked really good. We did.
Yeah.
Okay, just one moment, ma'am. Continue.
And, maybe prior to 2 to 3 weeks, that's when I was feeling a little bit nauseous, throwing up all the time.
Shortly after, she became pregnant. She says that, at first, everything was fine, and their relationship was going well. Mr. Miller admits that he fell in love with Miss Troutman the moment he saw her, which causes the entire courtroom to cheer.
And you had one child together.
We had one child together after being with her for a month.
And then you're on to number 2.
Yes, we have a second child, Deja.
And you have doubts about number 2.
I do have doubts.
Mr. Miller states that they already had one child together before this second pregnancy. He has no doubts about their first child, but is unsure about the second. He explains that when he returned from a week-long trip, he saw another man holding his firstborn and asked Miss Troutman who he was. She introduced him as her boyfriend.
I'm with
Well,
him.
what happened, Miss Troutman?
Well, what happened was when he had went away, we was broken up. We had got into an argument. We were no longer together when I was dating the person that I met at the Plasma Center. We were not together.
Miss Troutman interrupts, denying his claim. She insists that when Mr. Miller left, they had broken up after an argument. She says that when Mr. Miller saw her with her friend, they were on their way to her mother's house for her child's birthday. That night, Mr. Miller started apologizing and begged her to come back.
I really want you back. Will you please come back home with me? Trip or whatever with a friend. He didn't want to live here no more in Indy or whatever. And I was like, okay, I felt for it. I told him that I'd come back home with his daughter.
Judge Lauren then asks Miss Troutman if she was with only one man during their separation. Miss Troutman admits that she was involved with another man as well. The entire courtroom, including Mr. Miller, reacts in disbelief. She defends herself, saying their relationship had been so rough that she just got tired.
Miss Troutman, you admit that during that time, you were intimate with another man.
Yes.
And during that time, were you intimate with anyone else?
No. Well, yes, I was when me and him, I'm sorry.
Really?
Yes,
Get
I
it
was
straight.
when we got into it and we had broken up. Yes, I was with that guy that I was with.
Miss Troutman presents a timeline of her relationships, showing that all 3 men could be the father of her second child. She hopes that Mr. Miller is the father, while he admits that part of the situation is his fault due to their past involvement in a threesome. Now, only a DNA test can determine the truth.
Mr. Miller,
Yes, Your Honor.
you are not her father.
Hey.
Patrice.
Patrice, baby, I love you, baby.
Mrs. Gamboa dragged her husband, Mr. Gamboa, to court to prove that he is the father of their 1-year-old son. However, Mr. Gamboa insisted that he is not the father, claiming that their babysitter is the real father.
Mrs. Gamboa, you say you're fed up with your husband because he's repeatedly accused you of cheating, even with the babysitter.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you're here today to set things straight because you say his doubt about paternity has led to the emotional neglect of your 1-year-old son, Dominic.
Mrs. Gamboa explained that the babysitter was on the bed when Mr. Gamboa came home, but she denied any infidelity. Mr. Gamboa countered, saying he received a call from his stepfather while at work, informing him that the babysitter was in the bedroom with Mrs. Gamboa.
So, Ms. Gamboa, did you cheat on your husband with the babysitter?
No, Your Honor. The babysitter was in the bed at the time that Mr. Gamboa came home, but I did not cheat on him.
Oh, wait a minute. The babysitter was in the bed?
Yes, on top of the bed.
Mr. Gamboa stated that he worked the graveyard shift that night. He pointed out that they lived in a 4-bedroom apartment, so the babysitter could have slept in another room. Instead, he found the babysitter sleeping in their bed.
Mr. Gamboa knew he was in the room, and he only slept on the floor. When he came home, I was not in the room when he came home. I was in the living room watching TV, and he came home, and our babysitter was sitting on the bed.
Mrs. Gamboa revealed that it was actually Mr. Gamboa's decision to hire the babysitter, as he was a mutual friend they both knew. She claimed Mr. Gamboa was more familiar with him and had offered him the job when he was homeless.
So you have a male babysitter.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that. However, Ms. Gamboa, I need you to elaborate a bit for the court. Why make that choice? Why is a male babysitter in your room at all?
Mr. Gamboa insisted that their son, Dominic, looked exactly like the babysitter. He claimed the child walked like the babysitter and shared a similar head structure. Mrs. Gamboa argued otherwise, stating that Dominic resembled Mr. Gamboa, highlighting their matching dimples and identical birthmark.
You think this child, Dominic, looks like the babysitter?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
Your Honor, Dominic looks just like his father. He has the same dimple as our other son. That he looks just like him, and then he walks like him.
Mrs. Gamboa challenged his claim by questioning why he never denied paternity of their first child. She argued that if he accepted their first son as his, he should do the same for Dominic. The entire courtroom applauded her point.
Yes,
Receiving a
Your Honor.
child with a woman because
Why
of
did
having...
he did not deny our first son and only Dominic? If that was the case, he shouldn't deny our only Dominic and not our first son.
Well, Your Honor, when we conceived our first son, we were all living with her ex. We were all living in one house.
Mr. Gamboa confessed that his doubts about Dominic's paternity had caused him to distance himself from the child. Mrs. Gamboa accused him of being emotionally detached, saying he refused to play with or care for Dominic.
How has this doubt affected your connection with Dominic, Mr. Gamboa?
I mean,
Have you bonded with the child?
No, I haven't. Bonded with the child. He's
a year-old, handsome young man.
He's mostly with his mom. He will not come to me. He cries. He throws a fit.
Your Honor, I brought him.
Mrs. Gamboa claimed the babysitter was trying to destroy their marriage. She revealed that after they kicked him out, he attempted to persuade Mr. Gamboa to leave her. She also alleged that the babysitter encouraged her to leave her husband.
Our babysitter, when we kicked him out, he had no place to go. He went to Mr. Gamboa, oh, you should leave her and let's get a house together. And then he would come to me behind his back and be like, oh, let's leave him. He's no good for you.
Snapping photos.
We should get a house together.
Mr. Gamboa defended himself, saying he had business to take care of and that leaving the hospital only intensified his doubts. Mrs. Gamboa accused him of avoiding the baby entirely, stating he refused to take photos with the newborn.
That Mr. Gamboa, you are his father.
Thank you. That's your baby.
Miss Connolly reveals that 2 years ago, the court helped her prove to her father that she was his biological daughter. Now, she is back in court to prove that her ex-boyfriend, Mr. Haskell, is the father of her child.
Years ago, the court helped you prove to your father, Mr. Harrison, that you were his biological daughter.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say your relationship has improved, and he is actually here supporting you in today's case.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's wonderful.
Mr. Haskell argues that Miss Connolly is targeting him because of his fame. He claims she is seeking attention by dragging him to court. Despite his alleged popularity, this is the first time anyone is hearing of his name in Judge Lauren's courtroom.
So this particular day, I see Miss Connolly, and she's new. I don't even know her. I come in, I say, can I get my usual? She looks and says, who are you? I'm like, well, I'm one of the most famous singers in D.C. Like, you must not be from D.C.
Even Judge Lauren seems amused by the chaos unfolding. The tension between the two is evident from the start. The judge watches as their musical chemistry, which once brought them together, now fuels their heated argument.
When I got home, I threw his number in the bag, and I called him a month later when I got bored and wanted someone to talk to.
Your Honor, that's a lie. She called me a week later, indicating that she was locked out from her home.
He's lying.
Stating that she needed a shower to go to work.
From the moment the case begins, Mr. Haskell and Miss Connolly cannot seem to agree on anything. Miss Connolly insists that nothing sexual happened the first time they met. However, Mr. Haskell immediately interrupts, claiming they did have sex during their first meeting.
I come home one day, Your Honor, I got my female friend with me. I'm thinking I'm about to go and have a relaxed time in my room. She's laying in my bed. My mom not home. I'm asking, how did you get in?
Can I speak?
I have keys. Your mother gave me keys. How did you get keys if you don't know?
The courtroom quickly descends into chaos. Judge Lauren struggles to maintain control as the two constantly talk over each other. Their bickering makes it difficult to follow the case.
That's how she got in the house.
Wait, you brought
Because my mom loved pizza. There was pepperonis every night.
First of all, his mother doesn't even eat pork, so I don't know why you're lying. He's a liar and a master manipulator.
My mom.
Listen.
Miss Connolly admits that she initially believed she was in a committed relationship with Mr. Haskell. However, she grew tired of his behavior and decided to return to school. A few months later, she began to miss their sexual relationship.
As soon as I got back.
You did? Mm-hmm. Is that true, Mr. Haskell? That's a yes or no question.
Yes, we had sex when she returned from Texas.
Is this the time frame in which you think you conceived your child?
Yes.
Miss Connolly recalls that when she returned from school, she drove straight to Mr. Haskell's house. She claims they had unprotected sex that night. She also says she warned him to be careful as she was highly fertile at the time.
Mr. Barnett, how do you know Miss Connolly, Mr. Haskell?
I was actually there when they first met.
You were?
Yeah, this is my cousin.
That's your cousin?
Yeah.
So you were there when they first met?
Yeah.
The case takes a twist when Mr. Haskell's cousin, who serves as his witness, claims that Miss Connolly once flirted with him. Cousin also accuses her of sleeping with one of their close friends, adding to Mr. Haskell's doubt.
At the time that Blair was born, were you all in a place where he participated in the birth with you? Did he attend doctor's appointments?
He only attended one appointment, and that's because I asked him, I begged him to come.
Miss Connolly reveals that Mr. Haskell was present when the baby was born. However, she claims he only came because she begged him. She adds that she didn't include his name on the birth certificate because he refused to sign it.
Do you believe Mr. Haskell is your grandchild's biological father?
No, I don't really know Mr. Haskell. I never, I didn't know him at that time when she said she was pregnant. I never met him.
The tension escalates when Miss Connolly's mother enters the courtroom. Before her mother can even speak, Miss Connolly angrily accuses her of failing to defend her. Their strained relationship becomes evident.
Oh, Miss Connolly, let me ask you this direct, simple question. Were you also having sex with the man in Texas?
Yes, but the time frame is different. We were good friends and we were involved, but it's not around the time.
In a surprising admission, Miss Connolly confesses that she was intimate with another man while she was in Texas. However, she insists the timing makes it impossible for him to be the father. With all the accusations flying, the courtroom anxiously awaits the DNA test results.
Mr. Haskell, you are her father. Did you write a song for that?
Miss Sims claims that her mother and alleged father purposely deceived her for 36 years by making her believe that Mr. Johnson is her biological father. She is now suing them for paternity fraud, stating that she has proof to back up her claim.
Sims, you say your mother and your alleged father intentionally deceived you for 36 years by claiming that Mr. Johnson is your biological father. You are suing them for paternity fraud because you claim to have proof that you are not his daughter. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
This case is bound to be intense. Miss Sims's mother appears absolutely certain that Mr. Johnson is her real father. However, Miss Sims is convinced otherwise and claims to have evidence that could destroy her lifelong bond with her parents.
Well, for my whole life, I've always thought that Henry, my dad, is my dad. And I just have a multitude of things that have come up that show me that he potentially could not be.
Miss Sims expresses her frustration and heartbreak to the judge. She reveals that she has uncovered information related to both her health and her daughter's health, which she believes proves that Mr. Johnson cannot be her biological father.
How do you respond to that?
I never intentionally lied to her a day in her life. So where she's coming up with this, I don't know.
Surprisingly, even her mother seems unaware of what Miss Sims may have discovered. Her mother insists that she never purposely lied and maintains that Mr. Johnson is indeed Miss Sims's real father.
Miss Sims, you grew up a daddy's girl.
Right, definitely a daddy's girl.
With a wonderful relationship with the man you were told was your biological father. Can you talk to the court about that?
Yes, my dad, I met my dad when I was 4 years old.
In a bittersweet twist, Miss Sims admits that she was always a daddy's girl. She fondly remembers the wonderful times she shared with Mr. Johnson growing up. Interestingly, Mr. Johnson expresses the same sentiment, making it even more painful that their once loving relationship is now tainted by doubt.
I've always known there was some doubt, but I never mentioned it to her because I didn't see any reason for it. Maybe she has less trust in me now, but it doesn't affect the way I feel about her.
You say you feel like she may have less trust in you.
Yeah.
As the case unfolds, it turns out that Miss Sims was right to be suspicious. Her parents had, in fact, kept a secret from her. There is a possibility that another man could be her biological father, a truth both her mother and Mr. Johnson chose to bury.
So what do you say to your mother when you get this information and you say, I don't see these medical issues on either side of my family tree? What do you say to your mom?
Well, I actually talked to my dad first because, you don't ever want to, insult anyone or anything like that. And I actually talked to my dad about it.
Miss Sims describes how confronting Mr. Johnson about the situation was one of the hardest things she has ever done. However, she is relieved that she did, or she might have never learned the painful truth.
The possibility she may have another father, and is there something you hadn't told her?
She was FaceTiming me on the phone, and when she mentioned it, she was laughing and giggling, so I thought she was joking.
The betrayal cuts deep. Miss Sims recalls asking her mother about the possibility of another father. However, her mother brushed it off, assuming she was joking. This dismissal only added to Miss Sims's hurt and confusion.
Ended up getting acquainted and ended up being friends. And then after we got to be friends, she'd come visit, we play music and talk and dump our problems on each other and stuff like that. It just went farther.
Kind of got serious.
Yeah.
You all did you become a couple?
No, we did not become a couple. She was already in a relationship.
The courtroom becomes even more tense when it is revealed that Miss Sims's mother, Miss Smith, was in a relationship with another man when she met Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson claims they only slept together once, but Miss Smith remembers things differently.
Johnson, what do you remember? You say you only had sex with Miss Smith one time?
We were seeing each other for about 2 months as friends. One day we took a shower together and we ended up in the bed having sex.
Did you know she was in another relationship at the time?
Yes, I did. That's why it took me so long.
Mr. Johnson further reveals that he knew Miss Smith was seeing someone else, which is why they didn't become intimate right away. However, he admits that things changed the day they took a shower together, an event Judge Lauren notes as the turning point.
What did you do with that information? Who did you tell?
I told him I was pregnant, and I told my ex I was pregnant.
Okay, so at that point, as a young woman, you realized you were in a question of paternity.
Miss Smith admits that she told both men she was pregnant. She explains that when she informed Mr. Johnson, their relationship ended and they went their separate ways. It seems that Mr. Johnson assumed the baby belonged to her boyfriend at the time.
And so, Ms. Sims, you just said out loud, but I didn't meet my father till I was 4. Mr. Johnson, take me to the day you met her.
Her mom had contacted me and told me that I had a daughter. I went to meet her and walked in the house and she asked me, "Are you my daddy?" And I said no.
Finally, the moment of truth arrives. As the DNA results are revealed, Miss Sims anxiously awaits confirmation of her suspicions. Her face lights up with nervous hope, eager to finally learn whether she was right to doubt Mr. Johnson's paternity.
You are the father. That's your baby girl.
Miss Williams and her 2 sisters are in court today because their mother's promiscuous behavior left them growing up without knowing their fathers. Their mother, Miss Liddell, is also present, hoping to finally solve the paternity mystery.
Man who was supposedly had been my father, and we were all wanting to know, like his family, him, my aunt that raised me and Jasmine, we wanted the paternity test.
This case is bound to be chaotic. The tension between the girls and their mother is undeniable. It's almost as if they dislike her as much as she seems to dislike them. The courtroom is about to uncover more layers of this fractured family dynamic.
As growing up, family members would say, no, he's not your father. It was a rumor going around that.
Who is that?
James.
The man who's going to appear in court today and has been tested.
Yes.
The situation is complicated. The girls were raised believing that a man named James was their father. However, during arguments, their mother would claim he wasn't. To make matters worse,
Calls out her name. Who are you? You talking about some, so you don't know who I am? Talking about some, I don't know. You talking about some, yes you do. She talking about some, oh, Lisa, they're your daddy. How is you not gonna know this is my daddy when you look at him?
Family's issues run deeper than paternity. Lisa, the youngest, is convinced that James isn't her father. All three sisters still carry the emotional scars of being abandoned by their mother and left to be raised by relatives.
Do you know who her father is?
I don't know. I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna be honest. Jamie, no. Lisa, no. Jasmine, no. I'm not for sure if James is their father, if he's not their father. Because I was hoish. I did me.
It's easy to understand the daughter's pain. Their mother's uncertainty means none of them truly knows who their father is. This also means that Mr. James might not be the biological father of any of them.
You are these young girls' biological father. Do you believe that?
Deep in my heart, Your Honor, and I hate to say it, and it's hurting me to say it too, but no, I do not.
To his credit, Mr. James has been present in their lives as much as he could. However, he was never completely certain that he was their father. The girls have felt that uncertainty their entire lives.
Why did you miss my 8th grade graduation? You weren't away.
Because
you were out. You were able to come. Why did you miss it?
Jamie, because I was a piece of, I'm not gonna keep down on myself, but I didn't care about y'all.
At this point, it's not just about paternity, it's about emotional healing. The girls and their mother desperately need therapy. Even if they discover who their real fathers are, the emotional wounds they carry won't suddenly heal. The resentment runs too deep.
But you have to be careful about words you use with children, with young people, because it will eat away at them, break them down, and lead them down the same road you were. Somebody broke you down.
This case goes beyond DNA results. It reveals a mother who is seeking redemption but is met with unforgiving daughters. It tells the story of 3 women who grew up without a mother's love and learned to hate her for it.
What I'm trying to explain to you, nothing's gonna get better if the only thing you require of her is that she continue to tell you what a piece of crap she's been to you. Look, let me call it the way I see it. You see her? She living her agony every day.
Judge Lauren wisely points out that the daughters need to show their mother some compassion. It's clear that Miss Liddell is aware of her mistakes and carries the pain of her failures every day.
Today in this courtroom, by giving you these results, I truly believe that what you need in your life and what you're wanting in your life is not just going to come from finding out who your father is, but it's going to truly come when you begin to find out who your mother was.
Now, it's time for the DNA results. The courtroom holds its breath, waiting to discover if Mr. James is the biological father of any of the sisters.
Mr. Williams, you are her father. When it comes to Ms. Lisa Williams, Mr. Williams, you are not her father. When it comes to Ms. Jamie Williams, Mr. Williams, you are not her father.
My father, there's nothing I can do. You know, I can't
All
tell
right, wait, but Mr. Lawrence, let me ask you this.
Pull the name out. You know the
Mr. Lawrence, why?
The reason why, let me tell you, Judge. One day I went out to her house. I brought some drinks out there. We get to drinking, you know what I mean? And so as I'm drinking, you know, one thing, she came to the door with a short skirt on, you know.
Okay.
So,
that's my husband. That's called love. Feelings you can put in your pocket and throw away.
That much love.
Feelings you can put in your pocket. You can throw them on the ground, step on them. I love my mother.
Lady. Love me, you keep the big secret.
Okay, so what? But I've told you, and instead of you being
like
the man, but all y'all look crazy because you sit up there arguing back and forth, and he doing nothing but running back and forth.
Case 1, Mr. Cooper wasn't denying that he had a relationship with Miss Canterbury. However, he refused to accept the baby, insisting he knew for a fact he couldn't be the father. He also claimed Miss Canterbury threatened to make him pay child support.
I get a call.
Hold on, I'm talking. I get a call.
And
I'm at the house.
And you keep talking.
I'm at the house. I get a call. My mama called me. Some girl here with a baby. And I'm still a baby. What you mean, baby? That's how I felt. I'm like, man, you got me messed up. I ain't got no kids.
And that is the first time.
Miss Canterbury, on the other hand, was confident that the DNA results would prove Mr. Cooper was the father. She was certain he would have to step up and take responsibility once the truth came out.
You know this baby was my baby, or you claim it to be my baby. If you had a baby and you thought a man was your potential baby father, once you let him know whether he is or he not, you would say something and you would let him know it's a potential. You could be. You would say that, right?
Of course, but I wouldn't have a potential.
Nobody stuck in the dark, living a lie. You're not gonna do that. She admitted to it. Man, she admitted to being with other dudes.
Mr. Cooper, known for his dramatic flair, said he had watched enough paternity court cases to know good men were often tricked by deceitful women. He then revealed that Miss Canterbury had called him the night before, asking if he would be upset if the baby wasn't his.
Second time we had sex was this week through the 28th. And I remember it was threesome. We was all drunk.
You were definitely lied.
How are you so sure you wore the condom?
Judge, I woke up with it on.
Oh!
I woke up with it on. It was on me.
And the second time we had sex wasn't until after Jaden was born.
Okay.
While Mr. Cooper denied the baby now, Miss Canterbury recalled that he once wanted her to have his children. She said he even expressed this during their intimate moments, though he quickly denied her claims and accused her of lying.
Not at all.
Doing anything for Jaden?
Nope, nothing.
Who's been Jaden's father
My
figure?
boyfriend, Casey.
So your boyfriend has had to step up and be a father figure to Jaden?
Yes, we've been together since before Jaden was 1 year old. So he's been here, he's taken care of him financially, he's been here, taught him things. He's been the only father figure in his life. They're very close.
Now, Your Honor.
As tensions rose, another truth slipped out. When Miss Canterbury first found out she was pregnant, she never informed Mr. Cooper. It wasn't until after the baby was born that his mother received a surprise visit from Miss Canterbury, claiming Mr. Cooper was the father.
Mr. Cooper, you are the father.
Like I said.
You are the father.
Thank you, Your Honor, for those results. I will leave you alone. I will do
No,
everything
you won't,
want me to
because
do.
you got a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old take.
Case 2 this time. It was the man's turn to save the marriage. Mr. LeBlanc was on the verge of losing his wife. The results show he was the father of his mistress's child. Mrs. LeBlanc had reached her breaking point and was ready to walk away.
Been in a sexual relationship with Mr. LeBlanc, a married man, and claimed he is the father of your 2-year-old son, Vincent Whalen. Mr. LeBlanc, you are determined to prove that you are not the father of Miss Whalen's son in hopes of saving your marriage. Mrs. LeBlanc, you are at your breaking point and say, if the DNA proves your husband is the father.
Miss Wan, the runaway mistress, had plenty to reveal about Mr. LeBlanc's sneaky behavior. She claimed she had no idea he was married when their affair began. Things took a turn when she found out she was pregnant.
Let's try to figure out what is really going on here.
A baby.
Now listen, Mr. LeBlanc, when she told you she was pregnant, what were you thinking?
I was in disbelief. I didn't want to believe it.
Were you worried about how you were going to be able to tell your wife?
I was, yes, Your Honor. I was worried, and that was the thing. That's why I didn't want her to be pregnant, because I didn't know how to.
Unfortunately, you should have thought about that.
Apparently, this wasn't Mr. LeBlanc's first time cheating. Shockingly, he broke the news of his affair to his wife through a text message. Clearly, Mr. LeBlanc was terrified of facing his wife in person.
What did the text say?
The text message stated, I can't believe I did this to you again. Again. I can't believe I did this to you again.
The word I'm hearing is again.
Right, again, like over.
So wait a minute, there was another time?
Yes, ma'am. Prior to Vincent, there was Jaden.
Who's the mother of that child?
I am. That's my 3-year-old.
Miss Wan and Mrs. LeBlanc couldn't even be in the same room without chaos. If it were a boxing match, it would have been a Mike Tyson-level fight. Their insults flew so wildly, the judge had to step in and restore order.
That's my husband. That's called love. Feelings you can put in your pocket and throw away.
That much love.
Feelings you can put in your pocket. You can throw them on the ground, step on them. I love my mother.
Ladies, calm down. Because I know you all think it's cute because you're going back and forth, but all y'all look crazy. Because you sit up there arguing back and forth, and he doing nothing but running back and forth.
When asked why she believed the baby wasn't her husband's, Mrs. LeBlanc didn't hold back. She firmly stated that Miss Wan was involved with multiple men, making it impossible for the child to belong to Mr. LeBlanc.
Do not.
Why?
Her promiscuity. Promiscuous, very promiscuous. Like I said, the mailman, the milkman. Not only that, you're sleeping with a married man. You know,
Girl,
so why not?
You ain't gotta sleep with a married man if he come to you.
Why not?
Hold on.
He came to you because you were easy.
Hold on, Miss LeBlanc.
He couldn't do what he wanted to do.
So you're saying if Vincent is your husband's
Things got even crazier when it was revealed that Mr. LeBlanc and Miss Juan already had a child together. They had been fooling around for quite a while. Mrs. LeBlanc's frustration finally made perfect sense.
And you understand that, Mr. LeBlanc.
Yes, Sean, I do.
Is that why you're not acknowledging and claiming the paternity of Vincent the way you did Jaden because you're afraid your wife is going to leave?
No, ma'am, it has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with my wife leaving. It comes about, okay, look at the name Vincent. Who is Vincent? Where'd she get the name Vincent from?
You know what? I'm gonna need you to use a little bit more logic.
Yet another bombshell exploded. There might actually be 2 potential baby daddies. Juan admitted she had been with another man after Mr. LeBlanc went back to his wife. And honestly, who could blame her?
It might be. I might have had a moment.
Okay.
I mean, I wasn't committed to this man, nor was I married to this man. So yeah, I might have had a moment.
Well, go ahead and tell the truth then, because that's why we're here. So now we have the truth that there potentially could be another father, and so your doubts or your concerns have been validated. Ms. Wayland, did you ever tell anybody else that they're potentially the father?
No, Your Honor, I have not.
All these twists, the final moment had everyone on edge. Judge L.A. was ready to deliver the results and finally reveal the truth behind this messy, heartbreaking saga. Let's find out who the real father was.
Mr. LeBlanc, you are the father. Ms. LeBlanc, I know that's not what you wanted to hear today.
No, not at all. Not at all, Your Honor.
Tell your husband. I've tried to just articulate it for you because I know even as you argue back and forth with them, that's just the way that you're trying to hold on to your strength.
Case 3. All right, folks. Let's set the scene. We've got Mr. Lawrence, who just found out his best friend of 10 years dropped a bombshell. She thinks he might be the father of her 3-year-old son, Antonio Chandler. It's a messy case of best friends turned possible baby mama and daddy.
The court is going to call you for a paternity test. I say, for what? She said, for Antonio. I said, Antonio already got a father already. So I said, why would you wait so long and tell me we had sex a long time ago or whatever? I'm like, no, that's not the case. So I hung up the phone. I ain't got time for it.
Right.
I said, I'm not finna talk. I'm not finna do nothing.
Did you have sex with her?
Yeah, I had sex with her.
Exactly. You are the father.
Miss Payne took the stand to explain why she kept this secret for so long. She said she was scared of how Mr. Lawrence would react. She loves him, but didn't want him flipping out like he's doing now.
Secret all this time from your very best friend? What?
Yes, Your Honor. I was scared. It was all kind of emotions going through my mind. I didn't want to. This is my best friend, and I love him. I didn't want to throw.
How you love me? You keep a big secret.
Okay, so what? But I've told you, and instead of you being the man.
But wait, Mr. Lawrence had a bombshell of his own. He accused Miss Payne of keeping even more secrets. This friendship is hanging by a thread, and we might just see it snap right in front of us.
You didn't want to leave me on because you had a girl.
She just said I took her virginity. Let me tell you, Angela is lying because of the fact that
I'm lying.
I was out of town with the mother of my kids. She knew that. When I came back into town, I called her and told her I was coming. And when I came into town, I got on the phone like, yeah. She was like, do you want to kick it? I'm like, yeah. So I go pick her up, and that same day I had sex with her.
Mr. Lawrence insisted he never suspected he could be Antonio's father. He believed Miss Payne's son already had a different dad. But clearly, there's a lot more to this story than either of them first admitted.
Let me ask you this. Mr. Lawrence, why?
The reason why, let me tell you, Judge. One day I went out to her house. I brought some drinks out there. We get to drinking, you know what I mean? And so as I'm drinking, you know, one thing, first of all, she came to the door with a short skirt on, you know.
Okay.
Miss Payne wasn't holding back anymore. She claimed Mr. Lawrence took her virginity and then immediately told her he had a girlfriend. Even worse, she said he later denied that night ever happened.
I wasn't over there no more. A year later, she hit me up on Facebook. She said, come out here, like to come see me, you know what I'm saying? So I went out there and seen her. This time I left the car running, you know. She came downstairs. I don't
know why you
She came downstairs with the baby in her hand, and she could have told me right then and there, you know what I'm saying, as we sit in the car that this is my son, you know.
Tensions exploded as Mr. Lawrence and Miss Payne hurled accusations at each other. Lee's secrets and betrayals turned the courtroom into a screaming match, making it almost impossible to figure out who was telling the truth.
Last week she called me with this, saying that I could possibly be told this.
My son, 3 years old. It's not about him.
What kind of bet? What is?
Finally, the moment we've all been waiting for arrived. The DNA results were ready, and Miss Payne was nervously crossing her fingers. Brace yourself, Ruth. It's time to find out if Mr. Lawrence is really Antonio's father.
Mr. Lawrence, you are the father. How you feel?
I don't feel good at all. I feel my father. There's nothing I can do about it.
Case 4. We meet Jamario, who reveals a heartbreaking bombshell. When his daughter Serenity turned 2, he started doubting whether he was her biological father. Can you imagine the shock and confusion?
Miss Shank, you claim that when your daughter Serenity turned 2, Mr. Robinson began to doubt paternity.
Yes, Your Honor.
Since then, you claim he's pulled away from your child and it's now breaking your heart to watch her suffer.
Yes, Your Honor.
Jamario takes the stand and spills all the tea. He proudly tells the judge he supported Brittany through her entire pregnancy, even attending every doctor's appointment and helping raise their other child together until doubt crept in.
Shank suddenly stated you may not be her biological father and started to pursue DNA testing of another man. You pulled away.
Yes, Your Honor.
So you're hoping DNA results prove you are Serenity's father so you can once again feel close to your little girl.
Yes, ma'am.
Brittany then takes the stand and drops a jaw-dropping confession. She admits to sleeping with one of Jamario's friends during the window of conception, leaving everyone in the courtroom stunned.
Miss Shank, that happened.
Yes, Your Honor.
Please talk to me. Fill me in. When you found out you were pregnant, did you think he was the father, or did you know right off the bat there could possibly be another father?
I didn't know. When I first found out I was pregnant, he was there. Like he said, we were in an on and off relationship.
Jamario's world crashes down as he realizes his bond with Serenity could be built on a lie. Heartbroken, he begins pulling away, leaving Brittany devastated and Serenity caught in the middle of it all.
So, when you found out you were pregnant, did you immediately say it could be Mr. Robinson or the other guy, or did you say to yourself you felt like it was just Mr. Robinson because you'd only been with the other guy once?
Yes, Your Honor.
Was it just one time with the other guy?
Yes, Your Honor.
Next, Brittany's mother Donna steps up to share her own painful experience. She relates to Jamario's feelings and hopes they can find a resolution that brings healing to everyone involved. The tension is almost unbearable.
You guys were on and off again, but you have another child together, and that child you say looks like him.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now you say Mr. Robinson now treats baby Serenity differently than your other child.
The moment everyone has been waiting for arrives. The DNA results are in, and the entire courtroom holds its breath. Will Jamario be Serenity's biological father, or will their worst fears come true?
Jamario Robinson is her father. How do you feel, Mr. Robinson?
I feel great.
Good.
I feel great.
And so now when we go pick up child number 1, we also get our little girl too, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Case 5, all right, let's get started. Today, we're diving into the case of Jackson v. Williams. Miss Jackson and Mr. Williams had been chatting on social media for a couple of years before finally meeting up on Memorial Day weekend in 2016.
You say the DNA test will prove Mr. Williams is your daughter's father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Williams, you claim you made a huge mistake by having a one-night stand with the plaintiff. You say Miss Jackson is a promiscuous nuisance who is trying to ruin your life.
Miss Jackson claims that Mr. Williams was the one who messaged her first, asking what she was up to. She responded, just chilling. And from there, things escalated quickly.
He said he was in the area. I told him to come through. So I got in a car with him. We went to talking, and one thing led to another. We had sex.
Just like that?
Just like that.
Did you use protection?
No, Your Honor.
So, you have sex? Is this a relationship that continued after that? Did you all say, well, this was nice, let's...
Oh, wait. But Mr. Williams says it was actually Miss Jackson who reached out to him first. These two can't even agree on who made the first move. Either way, they ended up hooking up in the back seat of Mr. Williams' car.
I found out that I was actually pregnant. He blocked me on Facebook.
Oh, so as you're trying to reach him to say, hey, we had unprotected sex, I found out I'm pregnant, you could be a potential father, he's blocking you on Facebook.
Yes, Your
And
Honor.
you don't have his phone number.
Fast forward a few weeks, and Miss Jackson realizes her period is late. Panics and reaches out to Mr. Williams on Facebook to tell him the news, but he brushes her off and never calls her back.
Go by the facts. And the fact is, if it has not been proven that the other man is unable to father children, then you can't say for certain that it is Mr. Williams' baby. Provided any medical information about this other man?
I talked to the other man about being pregnant. As a matter of fact, his family interacts with my daughter.
Here's where things get even messier. Miss Jackson creates a fake page just to contact Mr. Mr. Williams again. She tells him she's pregnant, and his response? He blocks her completely.
You put Mr. Williams on child support, but the other man's family helps you with the child?
Yes, Your Honor.
What you up to?
I just went with whoever was going to stand up, Your Honor.
No, you went with both. You didn't go with one or the other. You got Mr. Williams on the hook talking about child support for him. Did you go down to the child support office?
Yes, I
did. And gave him his name?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Can you believe it? This poor woman is trying desperately to inform Mr. Williams he might be a father, and he's out here blocking her like it's a dodgeball game. Not cool, Mr. Williams. Not cool at all.
This other man was a possibility, and his family was involved with the child. Why not also give the child support office the other man's name?
Because, Your Honor, I didn't tell the other family about Mr. Williams.
So wait, you are getting Mr. Williams in a legal situation because of your inability to own your own mistakes?
But wait, it gets even juicier. Turns out, Miss Jackson had a little rendezvous with another man just the day after she met Mr. Williams. Talk about a love triangle brewing.
Now you got one woman pregnant, so that means this rendezvous you had with Miss Jackson is nothing new for you. You riding up on houses and having one night stand in cars and just making babies like they muffins.
Oh,
that doesn't mean you're not engaging in the behavior that could lead to you having more.
Now, it's up to Judge Lake to get to the bottom of this messy situation. Will Mr. Williams be proven the father, or could it be the other guy? Let's find out.
Mr. Williams, you are the father.
I told you!
You said you don't mind no child support, so we're not going to have any problems.
It won't have no problems.
Good.
I apologize for everything dealing with the situation at hand. I'll make sure I take my responsibility as a man.
He texted her phone. She deletes his text message. Ooh. Yeah, she deleted his text message.
Miss Fuentes had sex with pretty much all your sons.
Not all. Not all of them.
Oh, how many you got?
I got 10.
Ooh, all boys?
Anybody saying these are all God's children. Those children belong to God. They didn't ask to be here.
You can be in other females' face, but what is he doing with these females? Oh, you don't even want me to tell you. If your homeboy is saying you don't even want me to tell, that means you sleeping with him. You sitting up here acting like I was at your home and I cheated.
Two exes find themselves face to face in paternity court, battling over the paternity of a little girl who may or may not be his daughter. The stakes are high, and so are the emotions.
Claim your ex-fiance and the mother of your 3-year-old son cheated on you and then took your son to another state to marry the man she cheated with. Now you say Miss Sutton also has a 2-year-old daughter whom she claims is yours, even though her husband has been raising her as his own.
It's clear that both parties still hold deep resentment toward each other. The tension is obvious even through the screen. You can feel the bitterness between them.
Ex-fiancé Alicia cheated on me
and
moved to another state with my son.
You're together.
We was together, Your Honor.
You're engaged.
Yes.
And then you found out she was cheating.
Yes. She said she her girlfriend have a question for me. And I said, what kind of question? She cheated on a man. She said, what would you do if you was in our shoes? I said, I would leave her. And then she started crying, Your Honor.
The defendant didn't shy away from her actions. In fact, she was prepared to own her swingling, confident, and unapologetic in her tone.
We have a 3-year-old son, and yes, he was there at the birth of my son. But the reason why I cheated, because you was never home. You want to do what you want to do, smoking, drinking. If I'm hearing you out doing all these things, why I can't go do? Y'all can take that picture down, because that's not a happy family no more. That was the beginning of my 3-year-old son.
But the judge wasn't here for drama. He quickly shut down the unnecessary back and forth, reminding them this was a court of truth, not a battleground.
In a relationship with Mr. Page, you're engaged. Things are going along, but you're not happy.
Yes.
He's working.
Working.
You start getting information that suggests that he's out doing some
Even
things
though
he shouldn't
I'm
be
not just
doing.
gonna believe girls or what they say, but your own male friends are telling me this.
Okay.
That you're hanging out with.
Yes, I did hang out.
So why?
Interestingly, both sides didn't waste time pointing fingers. Accusations of infidelity were thrown from both directions, making it hard to tell who started what.
You can be in other females' face, but what is he doing with these females? Oh, you don't even want me to tell you. If your homeboy is saying you don't even want me to tell, that means you sleeping with him. You sitting up here acting like I was at your home and I cheated.
And you confronted him about this?
pregnant with that, Your Honor. She would always say, I'm tired. Yes, you're right. You're tired by sleeping around.
Sleeping around with one person.
Yes, it don't matter
how many people you sleeping around with?
0.
Things soon got chaotic. Real disorder broke out in the courtroom. Voices were raised, tempers flared, and patience ran thin.
Up pregnant, but I'm a hoe because I popped up pregnant. Wow.
You can't turn a hoe to a housewife.
You sure can't.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
That's why I made you my wife.
Thank you.
Let's watch our language in the courtroom.
Still, the plaintiff stood firm. He insisted he had never stepped outside the bounds of the relationship, not even once.
I clean every time I show my son in bed. I'm an unhappy person, so now I just...
Okay, so they give you a reason to cheat if you unhappy?
I went out and drank late night. I went out and drank with my son.
So you were out hanging out,
yes,
and you were drinking, but you weren't cheating.
Yes,
now,
never cheated.
Miss Sutton, when you heard was that he was out sleeping around.
I didn't believe it at first.
That's when the tables turned. It was revealed that the defendant had been involved with another man, something she hadn't fully admitted until now.
I agree with him at first. I made up this lie saying my friend want to know this question because I was scared at first.
Your Honor, I told Mike. When I told Mike,
I do believe she said Miss Sutton is talking right now.
But you're not telling the truth. You're going to tell the truth. Tell the truth, all the truth.
I'm talking.
You all know how to run this courtroom all by yourself. It's a shame you don't know how to work out your problems.
Then came a key moment. Mr. Cooper stepped up to speak. His words might just be what helps put the final pieces of this messy puzzle together.
The last 2 years, I've taken care of this baby. I've done everything I could. She's mine. I feel it in my heart that she's mine. You know, despite what happened between Alicia and I and her ex-fiance, I accept that. I'm sorry for that. But when Alicia told me she was pregnant, I was excited, you know.
No, you was not excited. Because when
yes, he was excited.
When I told you, you told me that this child is not yours. Yes or no? Then that's what you say.
At last, we've reached the turning point. It's time to learn the truth. Time for the results that could change everything.
Mr. Page, you are her father.
She's still mine.
Over my dead body. That's my daughter.
That you would never see.
But what I've heard him say today is that he plans to be a father to his son and to his daughter, and you gotta allow him that opportunity.
Most emotional moment awaits. Let's see how Mr. Page reacts when he meets his potential daughter.
So, Mr. Page, are you ready to meet your beautiful baby girl for the very first time?
Yes, Your Honor.
That was what you call unconditional true.
It all began with a smirk and the illusion of unconditional true love. But behind that charm, the defendant was secretly involved with 2 women at the same time. Now, the truth is bubbling to the surface, and it's about to explode.
Defendant Stephen Macon fathered your child while in a relationship with his current girlfriend, Ms. Glover.
Yes, Your Honor.
You claim you can prove he got you pregnant at the same time, and now you both have 2-year-old children named Stephen Macon Jr.
Yes, Your Honor.
When asked to explain himself, gave a weak and scattered defense. He relied on vague excuses, clearly hoping no one would dig too deep into the detail.
I got kids by 5 different baby daddies.
And you could be the 6th.
No, I ain't. If we ain't have sex till like 3 months after, I wouldn't even have sex. Me and Miss Glover, we wasn't together at the time.
Did you use protection?
Yes.
But there was a malfunction.
Right. Before we even had sex, 3 weeks after I met her, she got my name tattooed on her neck.
You got his name tattooed on your neck 3 weeks after
we ain't
you
even
met
had
her?
sex yet.
No.
One of the women, visibly emotional, shared her side of the story. She said Mr. Macon had treated her well like a real partner. He was good to me, she said, and I believed in us.
He was dating. He was treating me real good. He buy me stuff. He give me money when I needed it. If I needed anything, my kids anything, he'd do for them. When I was pregnant, he was rubbing on my belly like he was happy and he was concerned about us.
But even with her words cutting through the courtroom, the defendant stood firm in his denial. He showed no emotion, continuing to act like none of this was his fault.
It's not my child. No, she was sleeping around with a whole lot of people. I know it.
Do you have any proof of that? Did you bring the court anything? Did you hear anything? Did you talk to someone? Did you see her? Did you
my own friends, they used to spend the night over there like it wasn't nothing.
Your friends used to spend the night over her house like
That's a lie, Your Honor.
I didn't have sex with her till after 3 months after I met her.
The judge, however, wasn't convinced for a second. She had seen these types of cases before, and his body language told a very different story from his words.
Take that smile as a symbol of your nervousness and not that you think it's funny
to
have 2 young men running around this world called Stephen Macon Jr.
No,
No, it's not funny.
Both have your name. And coming from I couldn't imagine if my father, who is the junior, was looking at another person that had the same name.
And just so everyone's clear, the defendant wasn't done playing games. He had more secrets up his sleeve, and it was obvious he hadn't told the full truth yet.
He sent me a message saying that if it was his, we always gonna move in together.
If he is, like I said, I'll apologize to him. I'll come get him and whatever else needed, and I'll apologize to you till the sun comes up.
Yeah, I wrote it.
Your jerk factor is on 10, Mr. Macon. I'm not gonna lie.
Then came the turning point, the pregnancy. That changed everything, raising the stakes and pushing the truth to the forefront of this courtroom drama.
Came in and he was looking at the baby, playing with my son, and then so he said, so what you naming him? I said, I'm naming him after my brother. I said, because that's what my grandma wanted me to do. No, you're not naming him that. You name him Steve. So he said, call the nurse. So I buzzed the nurse. The nurse was there as a witness, because you know the nurse gotta be there at all hospitals before they let you sign anything, an affidavit or anything like that. And that's what I did.
To get the full picture, the judge made a bold move. She brought in the other baby mama, and her presence made it clear that this case wasn't just about one lie. It was about a pattern.
Asking you that series of questions has alerted me that your intention is to completely discredit her at all costs. I get why there's animosity between the two of you. Look, but I get it. This is a difficult situation, and as I can see from hearing Mr. Macon's testimony, he does not help it any. You just right in the middle with your hands in your pocket.
By now, the courtroom had heard enough of the lies, deflection, and manipulation. The moment had finally arrived to cut through the drama and get to the DNA result.
Mr. Macon Sr., you are his father.
And if you've ever seen this judge in action, you know one thing for sure she doesn't play. She delivers justice with clarity, not sympathy for deception.
Came in here with no evidence, could barely put a sentence together because you're smiling and laughing, because your nerves are shot, because you're lying. So you got 2 little boys now. You gotta make them understand this. The court has resources for you. Figure how to talk through it. Take advantage of the resources we have for you.
For 23 long years, plaintiff lived without knowing who her real father was. The emotional toll of that uncertainty had clearly weighed on her throughout her life.
What it was like growing up without a father.
I've experienced feelings of abandonment, and then I have to deal with the reality of my own father, who's alive, not in another state. He's living in the same state, has not tried to contact me, doesn't want to be around me. That hurts. He's in the same state, and he's taking care of other kids that are not even his.
What made it even harder to watch was that her father wasn't even present in court. That absence spoke volumes. And it was deeply hurtful, though undeniably true.
Mr. Harrison, is this true what she contends? Where did your doubt begin?
One daughter was born, and at the time she said, well, that's not your child. And as we kept progressing, she got pregnant again with our teacher. And I thought it was my child, so I stayed with her and tried to do the right thing.
You had one child, your first child. Thought it was his, but it wasn't.
Shockingly, even her mother admitted she wasn't entirely sure about the paternity. It wasn't just the daughter in the dark this mystery ran deep.
Are you certain Mr. Harrison was Artisha's father?
No, I wasn't, because at that time I'm ashamed of myself because I was living a fast life. I was a party girl, go out a lot. I used to sell drugs, hang in the street, party animal.
Then came the part that truly shattered any remaining confidence. When the truth started unraveling, out flooded the courtroom, and hope nearly disappeared.
Got married. We moved in an apartment together, and at that point, then it was kind of like we was a family. We stayed in church a lot, and I was just used to hanging out in the streets. Me and my girl go out, and I was a little promiscuous. And I did have someone else that I was, having sexual intercourse with. I got pregnant. Come to find out that, it wasn't his child.
All right. Life hadn't been kind to Miss Connolly from the beginning. He was actually born while her mother was incarcerated her. First breath drawn in a prison cell.
When you have Artisha, are you saying to yourself in your mind at the time, I hope this doesn't happen again. I've had one child and it's not his. What if is Artisha's his? Are you concerned? Are you questioning?
I got locked up. I had Artisha in prison.
And before that, were you with many different men or just one other man besides Mr. Harrison?
Several.
To make matters worse, it wasn't just one man in question. Multiple men could have been the father, making it all the more painful and confused.
Nobody could
So, I mean,
find you. You're always gone.
Besides
You're
the point,
disappeared.
it ain't your job to find me. The law will find me. They'll bring me to justice. Never took that upon that effort. It's 23 years later. So they went to court and gave them my address and gave them everything.
How dare you right now say
You're saying we would have had a DNA test 20-something years ago.
Correct,
So
correct.
because that didn't happen, in your mind, you began to doubt even more.
What stings the most is that all of this could have been resolved years ago. Miss Connolly should never have had to grow up with this burden on her shoulders.
semester at college. That's when I met him. That's when I first spent time with him. It was weird. He was trying to be a father. We went our separate ways, and he didn't try to contact me. You want to know how I found him? I was sitting at the bus stop, and I saw him walking past me.
And what happened?
I said, "Excuse me, I've been looking for you." He said, "Who you?" I said, "It's your Artisha."
That's correct.
You didn't
I
recognize.
didn't recognize.
Mr. Harrison, the man accused of being the father, wasn't ready to take the fall. He stood his ground, insisting he shouldn't carry all the blame.
Mr. Harrison, do you want Artisha to be your daughter?
More than anything in the world. It doesn't matter what anybody says. These are all God's children. Those children belong to God. They didn't ask to be here. Those are God's children we are playing with. She didn't ask to be here.
No, she did not.
And if I'm wrong, I ask God himself to forgive me. Whether I am or whether I'm not, I commend that effort.
But while he said one thing, his actions painted a completely different picture. His behavior contradicted his words, leaving many questioning his sincerity.
Told him to meet me at my job. First met at the bus stop. He said, "I'm gonna come down there and I'm gonna see you." He didn't come. I called him 7 times, and then I texted him, "Don't even bother coming," because I left. He didn't respond. And then I called him the next day, and I said, "Can you come see me at my job? But if you don't come, I'm going to be angry." He said, "All right, I'll come." So he didn't come, and I called him, and he don't answer.
From the way he carried himself, it looked like he was more interested in putting on a show. The alleged dad came off as someone who talks big, but fails to show up when it really matters.
I called him, I'm on the bus, I'm off of work. I said, "Where you live at? I'm about to come and see you." He said, "Hold on, let me ask my lady." I said, "What does that have to do with anything? Give me your address." He won't give me his address. He said, "I'm gonna call you back." He never called me back.
So ultimately today, you want to
I just
find
wanna
out,
know
you
if he
want to
is,
know,
then
are
I'm
you
gonna-
hoping that he's your father?
If I am, I'm hoping that he is, because I wouldn't know who is.
Now the moment of truth is finally here. It's time to reveal the DNA results and find out whether Mr. Harrison is, in fact, Miss Connolly's father.
Mr. Harrison, you are her father.
Congratulations. I'm sorry.
Well, buckle up. We're in for a seriously embarrassing ride. The baby mama has reportedly been involved with 5 different men from the same family. That's not just infidelity, that's an overdose of chaos. Shocking revelation out in the open. All eyes turned to the defendant. The big question now, how will she? She took a deep breath and shared her side of the story with the court. Her words added more confusion than clarity, leaving the room buzzing with disbelief.
Felt like we're together.
Yeah, we're
and
together.
so during the time of conception, you think you're still in a relationship.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, even after everything came to light, Mr. Arrest still stepped up to be a father. Whether the child
He don't know what he's doing. I do mobile.
So you say you held a job.
Yes, ma'am.
And you contribute to the household
Yes,
and
ma'am.
support. You have the children.
Yes, ma'am.
You're raising them.
Yes, ma'am.
Admittedly, acting like that takes maturity and strength. For a man standing in the middle of this storm, that's a big move.
Pretty much just family, friend.
Do you believe you're her child's father?
Not really. Don't look like me at all.
Looks don't matter.
But the time of conception matches. You understand that, right? That at the time the child was conceived, you were sleeping with her.
Correct.
His words were blunt and emotionally raw. Honestly, that level of betrayal from within your own family, that's just brutal, no matter how you look at it.
Ms. Fuentes had sex with pretty much all your sons.
Not all.
Feel about that.
I love her children. Her children look at me like a grandmother. I look at her like a daughter.
The entire courtroom was stunned. This wasn't just shocking, it was almost too wild to believe. You could hear the gasps across the room.
It takes 2 people to tango, if you know what I mean. And if they didn't take their turns, if you know what I mean, she wouldn't have been in this predicament far as that goes. She's not the only one there.
Take all the turns.
Right.
She wouldn't be in this predicament.
Right, that's true.
Have
But it
you
also
talked to
takes
her
them
about
too.
that?
It also takes them too.
She has talked to me about it.
So now,
What made it even crazier? Everyone involved seemed to already know the truth. They just hadn't said it out loud until now.
Mr. Rash, you are her father.
Where do we go from here?
You did the right thing. You just have to trust yourself enough to to know you're going to continue to do the right thing.
It turns out, had built an entire fake persona. A whole personality crafted just to keep people around. The real twist. This baby wasn't just a random surprise. Turns out, this child was the result of intentional choices. It would definitely be his. His arrogance practically filled the room.
Offered for them to stay at my house so they didn't have to spend no money. He said, oh no, I got this, I'll pay for the hotel. Well, it turns around, Crystal paid for the hotel. We had family cookouts so that he could get to know the family. And oh no, he didn't want to go, he wanted to stay in the hotel. Crystal wasn't allowed to go because he came there to see Crystal. She had to stay there and see him. He was only here for a little bit of time. He didn't want to meet the family.
With so many lies floating around, everyone hoped the witness would finally bring some clarity. Maybe now. Of course, there's only one way to end this roller coaster with the DNA results. Let's see what they revealed.
Mr. Scott, you are...
The DNA doesn't lie. Oh no. I find out about more than 100 girls, I promise you. I'm
opening for major acts after she's seen that I'm doing things. I'm moving places. I never have my baby. Not only the
Bills, you don't help us with anything. I have to come out my pocket and help pay rent. You don't do nothing.
So disrespectful, Your Honor. I had to put up with the total disrespect of this young lady for a long time, Your Honor.
In this dramatic episode, Miss Brown and Mr. Lang find themselves in a fiery battle over the paternity of a beautiful baby girl. Emotions run high as both parties accuse each other, and the courtroom becomes a tense environment.
Lang, you and your mother, Ms. Lang, have been waiting in agony to find out if you're indeed the biological father of your little daughter, Janelle. Although you have serious doubt, Mr. Lang, you want nothing more than for this child to be yours.
Yes, Your Honor.
Miss Brown stands firm and confidently denies all accusations of cheating. She appears composed and determined to protect her image. The court listens closely as she begins to share her side of the story.
I've never slept with Mr. Dixon. Mr. Dixon and Mr. Lang have been not friends for a while. They've been going at it, trying to fight each other, trying to find each other.
Okay, so you're saying her assertion isn't true?
No, it's not true.
She explains the nature of her past conversations with Mr. Lang, hoping to provide clarity. Her intention is to show that nothing inappropriate happened and that her words have been misunderstood or twisted.
He was on and off for 2 years because he cheated on me every other day. I find out about more than 100 girls, I promise you. I went back and forth with so many girls, and it wasn't her house. She didn't lie about him, she didn't lie for him, and I find out she's lying for him.
Despite her explanation, Mr. Lang accuses her of being dishonest. He strongly believes he is the child's father, but his emotions get the best of him. Rennie, another important figure in the case, reacts poorly to the entire situation.
The lie for you, girlfriend.
No, I don't have no reason to lie for her. Are you in the bed with him? Are you in the bed with him?
I don't need to.
Can I my son, Mr. Lang?
Is my daughter?
Okay, Mr. Lang.
My daughter be the parent.
Mr. Lang is the parent.
You know you like girls.
Was you in the bed?
Don't get me started.
Was you in the bed?
As tempers flare, the courtroom descends into chaos, and the judge struggles to regain control. Everyone seems caught up in the swirl of accusations and emotion.
I don't know if kids are in a relationship or if the mothers are. Because you
are not with that.
You are in the middle of the relationship.
Thing over there. That thing over there.
No, that
every time they got into
ladies, listen.
I want to get this over with.
You want to be respectful in the courtroom.
To steer things back on track, the judge changes the topic and jumps to questions about the pregnancy. This sudden shift catches the courtroom off guard and adds new tension to the case.
You then find out you're pregnant?
Yeah.
And what happened?
He was excited. He stayed with me through the whole entire pregnancy, birth, and delivery. He was happy to have a baby. I wasn't sure about keeping a baby. I just started college. He begged me to keep the baby.
The court wants to know what made Mr. Lang change his mind about the child. At first, he was excited, but then rumors began to surface, rumors that may have poisoned his thoughts and trust.
Are happy about it.
Yes.
Then you get a phone call from Mr. Dixon, and he tells you, don't be too happy because the baby's mine.
Yes, ma'am. I would see them in the car riding around together. I would see him walking to her house, to her apartment, like walking down the street, things like that. They had pictures together, hugged up.
Was this before or after the baby was born?
Before.
Despite his doubts, Mr. Lang continues to post pictures and comments about the baby on social media. This confuses many and makes the situation even more complicated for Miss Brown and her family.
Looking at the evidence that was presented, these are posts. Oh, it says, say we don't look alike, laugh out loud, boy, that's all me. That's you posting about the baby, right?
I wouldn't post anything about, I don't know if this is my baby or this and that. I've been there the whole
What does say we don't look alike mean?
In an attempt to settle things peacefully, Miss Brown's mother steps in. She offers to pay for the DNA test herself, hoping this kind gesture would bring closure and clarity to the issue.
All this mess was coming up. She would talk mess behind my back about the baby not being Mr. Lang's, but when I confronted her, she said she never said it. But when we got into an argument, that's when the topic of the baby not being theirs came up. I offered to pay for a DNA test. But after that, she never said another thing.
However, her effort doesn't go as planned. The test is not accepted or trusted by all parties involved. Just when things seem like they couldn't get worse, a shocking twist is still waiting to unfold.
Mr. Lang, you are not the father.
Are you serious?
Have that kind of language in
That's a lie.
Oh,
that is a lie.
The DNA doesn't lie.
Oh no.
Mr. Hunt walks into court today determined to put an end to what he calls a gold digger's nonsense. He's ready to prove his point and finally clear his name from the drama that's been following.
Mr. Hunt, you have petitioned the court for a paternity test to prove that you are not the father of Miss Tinsley's 3-year-old daughter, Josiah. You say that she is a gold digger and that your relationship with her was purely sexual.
Miss Tinsley, on the other hand, stands strong and confidently denies every single accusation made against her. She insists she's not after money, just fairness and truth.
To care less about Mr. Hunt's rap career or his money, and your only concern is that your daughter grows up with a father.
Yes, ma'am.
You admit that you were confident another man was her father until a previous DNA test proved otherwise. But now there is no question in your mind that Mr. Hunt is your daughter's biological father.
Yes, ma'am.
Taking his turn, Mr. Hunt begins describing Miss Tinsley as someone with a cocky attitude, though he carefully tries not to appear arrogant himself. His words stir quiet whispers around the courtroom.
I'm like the hottest rapper around, not to be sounding cocky or toot my horn. Coming at me for looking at dollar signs. She see dollar signs.
He's dead broke.
A few years back, but I only hooked up with her one time.
That's a lie. We had sex several times.
One time.
Suddenly, the calm is broken as one of Mr. Hunt's baby mamas interrupts the moment with a bold and unexpected remark. The courtroom's tension immediately skyrockets.
I'm a groupie all of a sudden.
She came to me about the baby. I found out about it on Facebook over my mother. I seen it on the internet. She took my picture.
After he put statuses about me on his Facebook page.
You are the father. This was on the internet, Yana.
And I tested him and it came back negative. Okay, and you the next possibility because I was messing with you around the time I got pregnant.
Are you serious?
Yes, I'm serious.
At this point, it becomes clear that the story is much messier than anyone anticipated. What seemed like a straightforward case has now grown into a full-blown emotional roller coaster.
Let's recap this. You had sex more than one time.
Yes, ma'am, we sure did.
It was a sexual relationship that was ongoing?
No, it was like over.
What kind of drug?
Is that you were having sex with someone else during that very same time?
I was single and I was kind of doing me. But if I was so much of a slut, I would have 5, 6, 7 kids by 7 different men. I got 2 children by 2 different men.
Rather than solving the paternity issue, the arguments are only raising more questions. Miss Tinsley's claims and the interruptions from others are making things even more unclear.
Tested one man.
Yes, ma'am.
That you thought was your child's father.
Yes, ma'am.
Because that was your boyfriend at the time.
No, not at the time. It was just my ex-boyfriend. We were still kind of messing around.
She waited till after I had a buzz in my city. I'm on the radio. I'm opening for major acts. After she seen that I'm doing things, I'm moving places, I'm going around.
This is what fame does to people.
But hold on there, still more chaos to come. Judge Lauren hints that deeper truths are about to surface, and everyone prepares for another wave of revelation.
You came to the club with the baby?
Jan, I kid you not. She came to the club with the baby on her arm yelling, "You are the father. This is your baby. Why aren't you taking care of your baby? You're a deadbeat dad."
I cannot believe what I'm hearing.
So that didn't happen. Miss Tinsley, you never.
I never had my baby at the club.
In an unexpected move, Judge Lauren calls Mr. Hunt's mother to the witness stand. Her entrance brings a noticeable shift in the courtroom's energy and curiosity.
I'm not raising mama's boys. I'm raising men. And if he is
the father, then he's gonna step up and do what needs to be done. Okay, I've already drawn my conclusion about this young lady. She told me that somebody else had been tested. We're testing for DNA, but we might need to test for STD.
Judge Lauren, looking serious, voices concern not just about the paternity test, but also about a larger issue. Why would a mother publicly shame her own son?
Why do you make that move? Why do you post her picture alongside this man's picture without confirmation that he's the father? Mother does that with their child's picture.
Him or his mama tell me anything different.
Let's get one thing straight. That father at risk or exposing his personal business, you're exposing your child.
It feels like more than just legal judgment is coming. Some serious emotional lessons are on the way. Judge Lauren clearly thinks this family needs more than just results, they need growth.
When you put them out in the universe for everyone to see. I know. It's let's keep it really real. You didn't have to go that route.
Finally, with all voices heard and emotions high, the moment of truth arrives. The room goes silent as everyone braces themselves for the DNA test results that could change everything.
The case of Hunt versus Tinsley. When it comes to 3-year-old Josiah, Mr. Hunt, you are not her father.
Yeah, wow. Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Zara returns to court, still reeling from the betrayal by his best friend and girlfriend. But this time, it's not just heartbreak, it's another serious paternity doubt hanging over his head.
Last appearance in this courtroom, you confess you walked away devastated upon finding out you were not the biological father of the defendant's son.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now you say that experience has left you in doubt about whether you're the father of her 8-month-old daughter as well. The man seated next to me could be your daughter's biological father.
After hearing the initial statements, Judge Lake decides to shift focus to MC Caffrey, a surprise witness. The tension in the room grows as all eyes turn to him.
Were you intimate with Ms. Nato?
Yes, Your Honor.
You were?
Yes.
Without protection?
Yes, she was sleeping with me, my boy, and him, but who knows if it was all at the same time, you know what I mean?
So, Mr. Zara, do you believe that?
Yes.
Mr. Zara, you say you brought a surprise witness.
Yes.
Mr. McCaffrey and Ms. Nato were sleeping together.
Yeah.
MC Caffrey delivers a jaw-dropping testimony, revealing details that no one expected. His words not only shock Mr. Zara, but also leave the courtroom buzzing with whispers.
Facts do you have, or what knowledge do you have regarding this situation?
2 individuals together when I was with one of Tom's ex-girlfriends. We ran into them two at a store.
You seen us together. Did we have our clothes on?
Yeah.
Were we sleeping together right in front of your face? Did
No.
you see us have sexual intercourse?
Do I know you
So
just
your
had sexual
testimony
intercourse?
is completely irrelevant.
This bombshell is just enough to push Judge Lake over the edge. Her calm demeanor begins to crack as she struggles to keep order in an increasingly chaotic case.
I'm not sure if there were eyewitnesses with the person you were sleeping with in the last case, when unfortunately
No, but I never
you
denied
ended
sleeping
up
with either one of them in the last
ended
case.
up in a situation where Mr. Zara was not the father
Absolutely.
of the
And
child.
I told you-
And look, unfortunately, that situation is what has led him to the doubt he's experiencing right now.
Next, things take a wild turn as 3 different men step up to the stand. All of them are testifying against the same woman, each with his own story of betrayal.
Let me correct that. We're not as close as we used to be.
Okay, well, you're not as close as you used to be. So now, what do you have to add to this story?
I was with Kayla the longest out of anybody. I was with her first. When me and her first initially split up, she had started talking to Tyler. They weren't together in a relationship. They were together as friends. They hung out together. They partied. They did what they did. They were friends with benefits, more or less.
Judge Lake attempts to piece together a timeline, trying to determine the exact moment of conception. She hopes this will help sort out the web of conflicting stories.
Were in a sexual relationship with Miss Nato and the extent of time.
I don't remember the extent of time. It went over for a good amount of period of time.
You also petitioned the court for a lie detector test.
Yes.
Why?
She lies to me all the time. I just want to find out truth.
He's a liar too. They all are.
Despite their different experiences, all 3 men oddly lead the court toward a similar conclusion. Their overlapping accounts result in a strange, unexpected resolution.
Did you sleep with him?
Yes, I did.
Have you slept with her too?
Absolutely
Well,
not.
goodness gracious. I'm trying to break this down to you so you can understand it, because this anger you have, it's not productive. And it's not going to be
falls back on me.
Exactly, which means you got to leave
But
these
I'm not
guys
the
alone.
only bad guy. They need to leave me alone.
I don't think
then.
you're a bad guy.
To clear the fog of confusion, Judge Lake orders lie detector tests for everyone involved. She's desperate for truth in a courtroom clouded clouded by emotions and secrets.
Are there any other potential biological fathers of baby Ariella other than the two men who have been DNA tested for this case? That's Mr. Tom Zara and Mr. Tyler McCaffrey. You answered no. And the lie detector results revealed you were being truthful.
Now, with everyone on edge, the time has come to reveal the final results. The courtroom falls silent, knowing these answers could bring closure or unleash even more drama.
It has been determined by this court that her father is Mr. Zara.
You have a lot of apologizing to do.
Child support battles and the looming threat of jail time have brought Mr. Redmond to paternity court. He's desperate for answers and determined to find out the truth about his alleged daughters.
Currently owe more than $10,000 in child support for the defendant's two teenage daughters, LaQuandria Redmond and Kaisha Redmond, who you say are not yours. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor. Over 19 years, I've been taking care of these kids, and Your Honor, I've been going to jail, and I know for a fact that these kids aren't mine.
Mr. Redmond firmly believes that neither of the two girls is biologically his. Miss Patterson takes the stand with confidence, insisting that he is indeed their father and always has been.
Your ex-husband says that he don't think either child is his. You don't believe that. You say they are his children.
They are his, ma'am. I never cheated on
And
him.
She's untrustworthy, Your Honor. I've caught her cheating on me numerous amount of times.
To support his doubts, Mr. Redmond brings an exhibit chart outlining multiple occasions when he believes Miss Patterson was unfaithful during their relationship. It's a bold move meant to shake the case.
This is a picture of me coming home from work, Your Honor. This was when we was married. I rode bicycle in the cold to go to work. Your Honor, when I got home, it was a tall, dark-skinned man walking out of my apartment.
That is not true, Your
Miss
Honor.
Patterson, do you know anyone that looks like that?
No, Your Honor, I really don't.
Judge Lake, reviewing the exhibit, appears skeptical. I'm not sure how this helps with paternity, she says. Agrees to proceed and let the truth unfold in time.
Why do you think he is just making all of this up?
Your Honor, I don't know. To tell you the truth, this is what I used to go through when we was married.
Isha is not your child. That's what I want to understand.
Because, Your Honor, I was so furious with Miss Patterson. When we left her hometown, I slept on the couch. I wouldn't even sleep in the bed with her.
Still, if Mr. Redmond's claims of infidelity are accurate, they could provide a valid reason for his doubts. The court acknowledges the emotional weight of broken trust in a relationship.
Sleeping together.
We were.
That's why you feel like you're not.
Yes, ma'am.
That's not true, Your Honor.
Miss Patterson pushes back, stating that Mr. Redmond only started questioning the children's paternity after their divorce. She feels this is more about bitterness than any real suspicion.
When I left him in 2000.
Were you also there for the entire birth while you had this doubt? Were you there for all of the appointments, the birth, everything?
Yes, Your Honor.
And so at that time, Miss Patterson, did you believe he doubt my children, or were you thinking that you all were just a married couple having children?
Yes, Your Honor.
Which one?
That we was married and, had kids.
With conflicting claims piling up, Judge Lake calls for the daughters to take the stand. If anyone can provide insight into the truth, it might be the children caught in the middle.
We are here today discussing some paternity issues that are affecting your family, okay? What kind of relationship have you had with Mr. Redmond?
Nothing at all.
Really?
Yes.
And you've been told this is your father?
This is my father right here because she has been here my whole entire life.
Shia bravely speaks up, telling the judge how their father treated them over the years. Her words carry deep emotion, revealing years of feeling unwanted and confused.
We called him and he never gave us nothing when we asked for money or anything. Nothing. Ain't gonna do nothing. You don't help my mama pay bills. You don't help us with anything. I have to come out my pocket and help pay rent. You don't do nothing.
Her pain is visible and the court listens in silence. We can't even imagine the hurt you've experienced, the judge says compassionately. Meanwhile, Mr. Redmond reacts coldly, showing little emotion.
So disrespectful, Your Honor. I had to put up with the total disrespect of this young lady for a long time, Your Honor, from being called the B word, M and F and this, I don't care no more. Then I had to go to her.
So do you believe that these are your biological children?
No, I do not, Your Honor.
With emotions running high and the courtroom filled with tension, Judge Lake finally makes her decision.
Mr. Redmond, you are the father.
Miss Rochelle finds herself caught in a tense and emotional paternity dispute. She's in court today, hoping that once and for all, the truth can be sorted out and justice served.
4-year-old daughter, Jasmine, you confessed that one man signed your daughter's birth certificate, yet another man is paying child support. Now, Mr. Harris, you're the potential father who is paying support for a child you believe is not yours.
Yes, Your Honor.
The baby mama takes the stand and reveals how she was deceived by Mr. Harris. She claims he gave her false hope and wasn't honest about his intentions from the start.
We could be together, so therefore he had me thinking we were together, but
It's just a hookup. That's all it was.
This was not a relationship.
It's not.
But you do admit to having a sexual relationship with Miss Rochelle.
I do.
And so at some point, you found out you were pregnant.
Yes, Your Honor.
In a surprising turn, he also confesses to hiding the pregnancy from Mr. Harris. She made her own choices in silence, keeping the truth from him during a crucial time.
Did you contact Mr. Harris?
No, I did not.
You didn't. Did this other man sign the birth certificate when the baby was born?
Yes, he did. The other guy was, because I know that Mr. Harris was not going to be there.
That is not true.
Although she says she had everything under control, she now questions why Mr. Harris is facing jail time. The courtroom grows uneasy as legal consequences come into focus.
Wait, if she had that sorted out, why is Mr. Harris going to jail?
How you ended up paying child support for a child when you're not listed as the father, but you paying child support. How did that happen?
I didn't have a way to get there. I had another appointment, but I didn't make that one out, so they just deemed me as the father without actually having
You were named the father by default because you failed to show up for your DNA test.
Yes, Your Honor.
A default judgment had already been made, declaring Mr. Harris as the legal father. This ruling is now being challenged, creating confusion and pressure for everyone involved.
Judgment of paternity, found to be the father of minor child. There it is. So you didn't show and you were deemed to be the father by default. You get hauled off to jail at some point?
Yes.
What happened?
They came to the house. At first I thought I was arrested because of traffic tickets, but once I got to the jail, they actually pulled up my record, said that I owe like $6,000 back child support.
Mrs. Harris, standing by her husband, reveals that while he was behind bars, the baby mama privately admitted there could be a possibility that he isn't the father.
The other men?
No, there's
She
not.
said there was one, Your Honor.
She told you there was one other?
When we started talking last year, when he was in jail, she never told me who, but she said one other guy besides my husband.
So where's the third guy?
There is only two.
Did you tell her three?
No, I did
Yes,
not.
Your Honor.
So this conversation didn't happen?
No, it didn't.
Yes, Your Honor, it did.
When asked to explain, the baby mama gives only a weak and vague excuse. Her uncertain response leaves the court questioning her credibility and the story she's been telling.
The thing is that I want him to take care of his daughter.
Your Honor.
That's all I want, is for him to take care of his daughter.
How can you take care of a child that you're not even bonded with when you have the child and a guy there to take care of your child and who loves your child as his own? Why would you want to break?
I want Mr. Harris to be in her life.
With both sides heard and emotions running high, Judge Lake prepares to reveal the results. Everyone in the courtroom braces themselves as the truth is finally about to be uncovered.
Mr. Harris, you are the father.
The streets talking. She was messing with other people at the time, Your Honor.
What
that's
other
why.
people?
That's
You don't
why.
even know me.
That's why I'm
When?
saying
Where?
we heard from
When and
people
where?
that she was pregnant before she started messing with my brother.
You said Mr. Barrows was not my father?
No, ma'am, he is not.
Miss Brandy Lane appears in court following revelations that the man she believed to be her father for the past 30 years may not be her biological parent. Mr. Line states that he was incarcerated for 5 years due to unpaid child support.
Ms. Lapine, you say for the past 30 years, you'd always believed the defendant, Mr. Lapine, was your dad.
Yes, Your Honor.
Then just months ago at a family dinner, you were told by a family member that he's not your biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Judge Lauren inquires about when Brandy first became aware of the doubts regarding her paternity. She explains that this realization occurred a few months prior during a family dinner, where a relative suggested that she bore no resemblance to her father.
I don't know if he's your dad or not because you don't look like your dad. He might not be your dad.
Had you ever heard of anything?
this?
No, Your Honor.
What did you say?
I went to another family member and asked if this was true. They just told me that this was not the time or place to talk about it and just shrugged it off.
Mr. Lean asserts that he has regarded Brandy as his biological daughter for 3 decades. He admits to frequently falling behind on child support payments, which ultimately resulted in his 5-year imprisonment.
Mr. Lapine, you believe this young girl was your daughter?
Yes, ma'am. And I've been 4 to 5 years in jail, and it gets rough.
4 to 5 years in jail.
Yes, ma'am.
For unpaid child support.
Yes, ma'am.
For a young woman that calls you and then says, some family member told me you may not even be my biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Upon receiving Brandy's call regarding her doubts, Mr. Lean reflects on the situation and notes that the dates of conception do not align. He expresses uncertainty about whether she was involved with anyone else during their relationship.
I counted back months. I was like, wait a minute, there's a month or 2 here that I wasn't even down there and she's supposed to be pregnant at this time.
Did you remember her mother being intimate with anybody else during that time?
I didn't know then. After me and her separated, I was told by friends of mine that they had slept with her.
Judge Lauren then asked Mr. Lean if he believes Brandy is his daughter. He responds that he does not think she is, citing her lack of resemblance to him in contrast to his other daughter, Jennifer, who closely resembles him.
Mr. Lapine is your father. And you grew up believing Brandy was your sister.
Yes.
So when did you hear about there being any doubt?
I mean, we were always teased about it, but...
Who would tease you?
It's just different family members. It was just things like, oh, well, you're the milkman's baby, you know, stuff like that.
Brandy states that Mr. Line was absent for a decade, during which he expressed significant regret over the situation. He severed ties with them when Broy's mother requested that he leave.
And not only do Brandy and Jennifer lose their father again, but also my 4 children.
And to be clear, you all are in a relationship.
26 years.
Yes, ma'am.
26 years.
Say they lose their father and my children call him dad. Everybody suffers.
Everyone suffers.
Yes.
Brandy mentions that she is aware of the name of her purported biological father. However, locating him has proven challenging due to the commonality of the name.
The first result pertains to Jennifer. Mr. Richard Lapine, you are her father. The next result pertains to Brandy. Ms. Lapine is not your biological father.
This narrative commences with 3 children, 2 mothers, and a pivotal day when the 2 sons, Victor and Maurice, share the same mother. Their mother informed them that Victor Medley is their father, even naming Victor Jr. after him.
Aaron and Mr. Medley, you are here to prove to Mr. Medley Sr. that you are indeed his sons.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Johnson, you grew up without a father for 26 years and claimed that when you finally found the defendant, he claimed he didn't know you existed.
Yes, Your Honor.
Victor Medley Sr. began to question the paternity of all 3 children, a revelation that was overwhelming for both plaintiffs as it had a profound impact on their upbringing. This brings us to the timeline of their relationship.
How difficult your life has been without having a father.
It affected me in life. Want to know why he wasn't in my life? Why would you give me your full name as a junior? Why would you sign my birth certificate if you deny me as your child? It hurts me like all get out.
The alleged father further revealed that when the mother of his sons became pregnant, he consulted with his pastor and decided to marry her. However, during this period, suspicions regarding her fidelity intensified.
You claim you went to your pastor once you learned she was pregnant.
Yes.
And what did your pastor tell you?
Do the right thing, make her an honorable woman.
So basically, you married her even though you had doubt.
Yes.
And then,
following the passing of his wife, the defendant fully embraced his denial. The only positive aspect of this situation was the devoted grandmother, who opposed her son's stance and was present for every significant event.
His mother died in 2007. He was nowhere in our lives before then. His mom came down for Christmases,
birthdays, everything.
Gave us
and she
everything.
treated us like we was her grandkids.
And
she told us no matter what your daddy say, you guys are always going to be my grandkid. And that hurts me so much.
Ms. Johnson was also present in the courtroom, believing that Mr. Medley was her father. The question now arises, can a DNA test resolve the issues plaguing this family?
Mr. Medley Sr., you are not her father. Okay. Mr. Medley, what are you feeling now?
I don't know. I thought she was my daughter.
Miss Wilson and Mr. Woody appeared in court to determine the paternity of their 2-month-old son. Mr. Woody, who has affection for the child, harbors doubts due to Miss Wilson's admission of having been intimate with another individual around the time of conception.
Confess you slept with another man at the time of conception, though you honestly can't be sure who fathered your child. Hoping today's results will give you that answer.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Woody.
Yes.
You were at a crossroads. You've fallen in love with the baby.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Woody expressed his excitement about the baby, especially since he already has a young daughter whom he cherishes. The prospect of having a son thrilled him.
Excited because what man doesn't want to have a junior, you know? So I got plans made, you know, I'm ready to go play baseball and basketball with them, and I'm just ready. So I'm ready to be a father to a boy now.
So you're already having the visions of
here.
everything you're going to do, baseball, basketball, first haircut.
Everything.
He stated that he has grown to love the child deeply and has established a strong relationship with him. However, he now fears that the child may not be his, stemming from the fact that he and Miss Wilson were not in a committed relationship at the time of their encounter.
You love the baby.
Yes. I thought that was it, you know, but come to find out, you know, I have my doubts about if he's mine or not.
Because you and Ms. Wilson are not in a relationship, you know that there is a strong possibility that this child could be someone else's.
Yes.
Miss Wilson recounts that her initial encounter with Mr. Woody occurred while she was walking down the street, during which he offered her a compliment. She engaged with him, and they subsequently developed a physical relationship.
I met Mr. Woody. I was walking down the street with my friend. We were drunk, and we were going up to the store. He was in an apartment complex, with his daughter in a stroller, and he said, "You're cute." And I was like, "Oh, you cute too." So we walked to the store, and we walked back to my friend's house. We had intercourse.
Okay.
Miss Wilson reached out to Mr. Woody via Facebook, as it was her only means of communication with him. She reports taking several home pregnancy tests, all of which yielded negative results, but a subsequent blood test confirmed her pregnancy.
How did you find out she was pregnant?
She sent me a message on Facebook, Your Honor. I guess she couldn't find me, so she sent me a message on Facebook.
No.
How it happened?
It's not because I couldn't find her, it's because he left. Pardon me, I'm sorry.
Let's get courtroom
I apologize.
language.
Mr. Woody explains that it was his girlfriend who was responding to Miss Wilson's messages, leaving him unaware of the pregnancy for some time.
Mr. Woody?
The girl that I was dating was responding to the messages that she was sending me. I have a couple of pieces of evidence, and I got to...
So this is a message from Davina Wilson. I'm pregnant. So I hope you know we're getting a DNA test when the baby's born, and I'm hitting you up with this child support. I'll see you in court.
Miss Wilson further states that she has not disclosed the pregnancy to the other man, as her sexual encounter with Mr. Woody occurred first, and questions whether a DNA test could clarify the situation.
Mr. Woody, you are not his father.
What?
Jerome, will you please have her sit down?
Miss Jacobs has summoned Mr. Walker to court, asserting that he is her biological father. She expresses feelings of abandonment as he left shortly after her 14th birthday. Mr. Walker explains that he overheard a troubling conversation between his wife and Miss Jacobs' family.
On her 14th birthday, Your Honor, we were outside celebrating with 4th of July. I heard an argument inside the house. So I go in to see what's going on, and my ex-wife, her mother, and her sister was in there, and she was screaming at her mother like, well, she was drinking, so she was being belligerent and stuff. She was like, well, you know there's a chance they're not his kids, and I don't know what to do.
Miss Jacob expresses that she was completely unaware of the circumstances surrounding her father's departure, feeling as though he abandoned her without justification. Following his exit, she was placed in foster care.
Did you overhear or know all of this was going on at your 14th birthday party?
No, I actually just seen him walk out of the house. He was really angry, so I didn't understand what was going on at all. So after that, we ended up being put in foster care.
Miss Jacob reveals that she felt a profound sense of abandonment, which led her to intentionally become pregnant at the age of 16 in hopes of achieving emancipation. Mr. Walker, on the other hand, claims he was oblivious to these developments.
It's obvious that you were looking for the family you didn't have.
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Walker, you had no idea your daughter was going through all of this?
No, Your Honor. The foster care, she went to foster care because I had a job when I threw her mother out because of all that coming out at her birthday party.
At the age of 17, as she was preparing to give birth to her daughter, Miss Jacob learned the unsettling truth about her family. She desired her father's presence during this significant moment, but her mother dismissed the need.
Had you heard rumors about her cheating?
I seen it myself.
As a young child?
I was 5 years old.
What did you see exactly?
My dad was at work, my mom was home, and a family member of mine came over to the house. They ended up taking a shower together.
For it. She vividly remembers the incident involving her mother's affair with a relative of her father. After observing this, she communicated her findings to her father, who subsequently confronted his wife.
He confronted her. She told him that I was lying, I was making up stories. And my dad looked at her and was like, I don't understand how you think a 5-year-old has the time to sit around and make up stories about adult content.
When Mr. Walker pursued a divorce, his primary request was for custody of the children, while his wife sought the marital property and home. He asserts that he fought for years to secure custody.
When I took her to court, Your Honor, the only thing she wanted in the divorce was the property and the contents of the house. And I said, give me my kids, you can have everything, anything you want. I brought the divorce papers with me to back that up as evidence. I've done nothing but fight for these kids, Your Honor. I love my children. My children are my world.
Upon reuniting with his daughter, Mr. Walker shared the documentation with her. Miss Jacob admits to feeling remorseful for the hurtful remarks she directed at her father during their initial meeting, attributing her behavior to her mother's influence. The question remains whether the forthcoming DNA results will provide a resolution and a joyful outcome for this father-daughter relationship.
Mr. Walker, you are Aisha's father.
I love you.
I hope that now that you have the
It's just like him. That's what hurt. That's what.
And Miss Ramos, this
Told her.
And that's a load of crap.
y'all just having sex. Y'all know what you're doing.
Exactly.
You have no clue. Just kids engaging in adult activity. Absolutely no idea of the consequences.
She called to say I'm at the bus station. Did you know she was coming?
No.
What?
No. The next thing I know, here she is. I got to enroll her in school. As soon as she got there, I could see why she came.
Need a history lesson today about the historic river. I need to understand.
I know, but she's
giving me too many irrelevant facts. I'm interested in Bentley's life.
Case 1. This case will absolutely blow your mind. Two people, both with different mothers, are standing in court claiming the same man is their father. Sounds crazy, right?
Mr. Moore, you claim you've known Mr. Taylor for most of your life.
Yes, Your Honor.
But he has never acknowledged you as a son.
Yes, Your Honor.
And he even left you in foster care.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Everett, you say you weren't even introduced to Mr. Taylor until you were 5 years old. Then you claim you didn't see him again until you were sent to live with him.
They're both hoping to finally learn the truth. Is Mr. Taylor truly their biological father? Let's dive into how this case unfolds.
That is a strong accusation. Please describe your childhood. How did this happen?
I went to juvenile hall because my mom was addicted to drugs. So when I was in juvenile hall at the age 14.
Mr. Moore, the first plaintiff, claims he has known Mr. Taylor for most of his life. However, Mr. Taylor has never acknowledged him as his son.
I wasn't sure ever that this was my son.
You still
I
can find out,
honestly didn't know. And then all of a sudden, he's your son, he's your son, he's your son. No, Your Honor, I didn't know.
The second plaintiff, Miss Everett, says she didn't meet Mr. Taylor until she was 5. Their relationship was so toxic, she placed herself in foster care.
Same nose, same mouth, same eyes, same hair structure, all that.
On the left, of course, is a picture of you, and on the right, a picture of Mr. Taylor.
Yes, ma'am.
And you see a striking resemblance.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Moore had a tough childhood. He says the worst part was that his mother didn't tell him about his father until after he got out of juvenile hall.
Mr. Taylor, what did his mother say to you? What did she tell you?
His mother said to me, now this is years later. This isn't when the child was born. This is that might be your son.
Were you ever told she was even pregnant?
She came and told me she was living with me.
He believes that if Mr. Taylor had been there, maybe his life would have turned out differently. And honestly, who can blame him?
Ms. Twyman, yes.
Please tell us what you know about this situation, Mr. Moore's upbringing, and how can you...
Mr. Moore's mother is my sister.
Okay.
Okay. My sister told me that Mr. Taylor could not be the father of Mr. Moore.
Mr. Taylor says he didn't believe Mr. Moore was his son because his name wasn't on the birth certificate. Still, wouldn't you want to help just in case?
Mr. Taylor, you are his father. Mr. Taylor, I can see you have tears in your eyes. What are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling that I finally know instead of doubting for all these years. 31 years old. I could have been in his life so much earlier.
It's hard to believe because they look so much alike. But Mr. Taylor insists the only similarity is their complexion.
What was life like for you growing up?
I never had a father figure in my life. I didn't meet Mr. Taylor until I was 5 years old. He came to my house in Philadelphia. I came outside. My mom was like, somebody wants to meet you. Your dad wants to meet you.
Now we're getting somewhere. Turns out Mr. Moore's mother cheated on her boyfriend with Mr. Taylor. Then she went back to her boyfriend, who assumed the child was his.
Let me explain in the beginning. Her mother, lived with me for a month. She left, and I didn't see her no more. And then the next time you see me, you got a baby and you saying it's mine. And right after that, I was incarcerated. I was gone.
That really complicates things. Mr. Moore's aunt even says her sister swore Mr. Taylor couldn't be the father. At this point, a DNA test is the only way forward.
I didn't go to amusement parks when my friends went to amusement parks. I didn't go to parks. I didn't go to family reunions. I didn't go to no type of anything. He was nowhere in the picture.
Your Honor,
from 5 to 14 years old.
I wasn't in the picture is because I had all the doubts.
Mr. Taylor seems remorseful. He's ready to make amends if the results show he's the father. But now it's time to consider the second plaintiff, Miss Everett.
She called to say I'm at the bus station. Did you know she was coming?
No.
What?
No. The next thing I know, here she is. I got to enroll her in school. As soon as she got there, I could see why she came.
Miss Everett recalls being introduced to Mr. Taylor as her father. He promised to return, but didn't show up again until she was 14.
2 people on the birth certificate. When I took it back to the state building said to me that it was a computer error. So
a computer error, nothing.
There's 2 people on your birth certificate?
It was 2 people at the time. It was just a word named Mike.
Mr. Taylor claims he doubted her paternity because her mother was seeing other men. He also says he was incarcerated for a while, which explains his absence.
The only way to figure out whose name should rightfully be on that birth certificate is to get the results. Jerome, I'm ready.
Miss Everett says she felt rejected and mistreated by Mr. Taylor's family. That's why she chose foster care. It was better than feeling unwanted.
Mr. Taylor, you are her father.
Have a hope? Sure.
Case 2. Miss Hoagland admits she had unprotected sex with both her husband and a coworker during the same time period. Now, she's in court, desperate to end the questions about her child's paternity that have shaken her marriage.
Ms. Hoagland, you confessed to having unprotected sex with your husband, Mr. Hoagland, as well as a coworker within the same time period. Now you say you're here today because questions about paternity have haunted your marriage since the birth of your firstborn, 3-year-old Bentley.
That is correct.
The pressure is intense. Mr. Hoagland says if the child isn't his, he's ending the marriage. Despite having other children together, he says he can't continue living with this doubt.
All right, well, take me back. You accuse her of cheating with a coworker.
I really knew I liked her from the moment I saw her. This guy that she got with obviously took advantage of her.
And why did I get with him? I got with him because your roommate, your controlling roommate at this company, told me that you were interested in dating anyone.
Interestingly, Ms. Hoagland claims her coworker once told her he was celibate, which is why she chose to be with her husband. She says staying away from sex might have saved her from all this drama.
This is the month that I conceived my son. As you can see, on the 2nd is when I had an intimate relationship with my coworker.
In blue?
Yes. And then on the 20th of June is when I started an intimate relationship with my now husband.
Things heat up when Miss Hoagland shares medical evidence. Her doctor said the likely date of conception points more to the coworker being the father, not her husband.
Blue or green eyes. And his hair. Granted, his hair is brown. He gets that from his mom. But I have very coarse hair, clearly. He doesn't have high cheekbones like me. So as he's gotten older, I can see more features.
Your Honor, that
He
baby
walks a little
looks like
different.
his mommy.
No wonder Mr. Hoagland has his. Doutsy says they had unprotected sex, yet the baby looks nothing like him. Plus, the timing of conception just doesn't add up in his eyes.
When I look at him now and I have this image of the guy that she was with before me, he does resemble him.
So does he look like your other children?
I mean, his younger brother, Presley, I mean, they have very similarities. As far as the only similarities, it's really...
Surprisingly, they're still together, even though the tension is clear. Miss Hoagland admits her husband treats this child differently than their other kids, and it's breaking her heart.
It's funny how when I mentioned to you just the other week, because we don't live too far from, it's a river, it's a very historic river, it's called Indian Creek. But anyway, I was like,
Mr.
hey, let's
Hoagland,
go
I don't
fishing.
need a history lesson today about the historic river. I need to understand.
I know, but she's not painting the picture of where...
No. You're giving me too many irrelevant facts. I'm interested in Bentley's life.
Adding to the drama, Miss Hoagland even missed a previous court date. Maybe she already suspects what the DNA test will reveal. But now it's time the judge is ready to read the result.
Junior, you are Bentley's father.
Yeah! What? Thank you, Judge.
You all need to do some talking.
Case 3. This case is wild from the very start. Miss Ramos comes to court to prove that her ex-fiancé, Mr. Edwards, is the father of her child. But Mr. Edwards claims she changed her due dates to make it look that way.
Ms. Ramos, you are in court to prove that your ex-fiancé, Mr. Edwards, fathered your 1-month-old son, Xavier. You claim that after sharing your news, were pregnant with his baby, women he was secretly cheating with started coming out of the woodwork trying to convince him he's not the dad. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Hold up, Miss Ramos admits that she's not the only one questioning the paternity. She says random women have told her that Mr. Edwards isn't the father. That level of doubt says a lot.
In my mind, I'm the type that's like, gives the people a benefit of doubt that they change after a while. And I gave him that benefit of the doubt. But then that's when he started doing the cheating from the whole time.
Turns out Miss Ramos wasn't exactly innocent either. She says things weren't serious between her and Mr. Edwards, so she slept with her ex. But when she found out she was pregnant, things suddenly got serious.
So at what point do you find out she cheated?
Well, at the beginning, when she was at least like a month pregnant, that's when she had slept with a relative of mine.
I disagree. It's not even a blood relative, first of all. It was all through marriage.
And then she drops the bomb she slept with one of Mr. Edwards' family members while just a month pregnant. She defends herself by saying they weren't on good terms at the time. Still, that's family.
Ended up eventually moving in her apartment. Now, the relative of mine is the person that she slept with when she was about a month pregnant. Her story was that she was asleep and he was going in and out of her.
Things get worse when she says she wasn't even fully aware it was happening. Wait, what? How can someone not realize they're sleeping with another person? That excuse isn't helping her case at all.
So once you found out she was intimate with this person, that led you to believe she had been intimate with this person before?
It's just too many times where she slept with people. Then one time, she had texted my phone and said that she had another confession. She wanted me to meet her at the grocery store.
Even Judge Lauren is clearly disturbed. Miss Ramos goes on to admit she also slept with another man and contracted 2 STDs while pregnant. That's not just reckless, it's dangerous.
Both decided that we wanted to have a complete family. He asked me to marry him.
So after all this, Mr. Edwards, you agreed to marry Miss Ramos? You asked her to marry you?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Okay, because you felt like you really wanted to try to make it work?
Yes, with the child,
Given everything, it's hard to blame Mr. Edwards for having doubts. How could anyone go through all of that and still be expected to believe they're the father without question?
Exactly. Look at that.
Mr. Edwards, you look pretty happy.
He looks just like him. That's what hurt.
And Miss Ramos, this upsets you?
Yes, it hurt. It upsets me bad. It upsets me very bad.
Jerome, I want you to give Mr. Edwards a close-up look at this picture.
Funny enough, Mr. Edwards looked thrilled in a photo holding the baby. He genuinely seemed like he was ready for fatherhood. But Miss Ramos's actions made it hard to keep that trust alive.
So he didn't sign the birth certificate, but you still gave Xavier his last name?
Because him and his father told me to give him his last name. They were both there.
I did tell her to give the child my last name.
If you still feel feel like that's a doubt for the baby, then why, again, want me to put your last name?
The judge makes a solid point, Mr. Edwards stepped up from the start. He supported Miss Ramos through the pregnancy and played the role of a father. But why stay if he never trusted her?
She was pregnant. It was already a rumor going around that she was pregnant before they started talking by somebody else.
Disagree.
Everybody knew about it.
Well, that's because everybody's always making up lies because nobody likes me.
Before I even seen you, I knew about you. Everybody was talking about you.
Okay.
So who is this girl that's sleeping with everybody?
This case is one of the messiest to ever hit the courtroom. Even Mr. Edwards' witness says Miss Ramos was with other men before the relationship began. Now, only the DNA results can reveal the truth.
Mr. Edwards, you are the father.
I want you to apologize to our son because I told you since day one.
How do you feel in this moment, Mr. Edwards?
I'm afraid.
Case 4. This was another intense battle between a baby mama and a baby daddy's mom. Miss Whitaker dragged the defendant to court, trying to prove he's the father of her child. She claims his only doubt stems from his manipulative mother interfering in their relationship.
Ms. Whitaker, you've summoned Mr. Schroll to court to prove that he is the father of your 2-year-old daughter, Brinley.
Because he's a mama's boy. She has never done anything but come in between our relationship. Even when we were having fights in our relationship, she was always in the middle of it. It was never just me and him, it was me, him, and his mother.
Defendant clearly doesn't play when it comes to his mom. Miss Whitaker said their relationship started beautifully, like something out of a fairy tale. But as she told her story, some parts just didn't add up.
Fell in love from the beginning. We were never separated. We probably spent 3 days apart in the entire almost 3 years we were together. From the time we started dating, our parents let us spend the night together. We were either staying at my house.
Wait, they what?
Yes. They let us stay the night
When you
together.
started dating, your parents let you spend the night together?
Yes.
At each other's homes?
Yes. At one point, we were completely living together.
It's hard to ignore that parenting issues to letting teens be sexually active without boundaries is never a great plan. Miss Whitaker's story shifted. First, they were one happy family. Then suddenly, his mother became the villain.
She was always in the middle of our relationship. She even made the comment one time that I can't wait till you're 18 because I'm going to beat you. And then when she found out I was pregnant, she said, I guess I can't do it anymore now.
Mr. Schroll, did you know your mother didn't care for Miss Whitaker?
She cared for her. I don't know where that she didn't care for her comes from, because anytime Miss Whitaker needed to talk to her, she'd come to my mom. She'd call her mama.
Apparently, baby daddy once wanted to marry Miss Whitaker, so they must have been truly in love. But if that love was real, how did things spiral into this courtroom drama? That's where the real story begins.
Let's get to the real details.
What happened? What had happened? Her mom had passed away.
Okay.
And she got put in a foster home, and once she turned 18, she went with family.
I'm sorry to hear that, Miss Whitaker. Very sorry.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And so at that time, you all were separated. You were no longer living together.
I was fed up with it. I was getting constant accusations of cheating, and I never once cheated on her.
Turns out cheating is at the heart of it all. Miss Whitaker admits to a scandal, but she claims it didn't go down the way people are saying. She says there's more to the story than what baby daddy and his mom are letting on.
Exactly 1 month after my mother had passed away.
Okay.
I was already in DHR custody when I found out I was pregnant.
All right. So you are dealing with all of that. Then you find out you're pregnant.
Yes, ma'am.
You let him know.
Yes,
At the time you let him know, how did you let him know? Phone call? You saw each other?
My social worker put me in a room and let me call him and tell him I was pregnant. And he was actually very excited.
Baby daddy's mother didn't hold back either. Judge Lauren asked her to testify, and she didn't waste time accusing Miss Whitaker of cheating 7 different times. That kind of claim is hard to ignore.
Staying together and sleeping together was never okay with me. This started at her house, and I begged her mother, please don't let this happen. It's not happening at my house. Y'all are too young for this kind of relationship. Her mother couldn't do anything with her.
Please don't bring my mother into this because she's dead and she can't defend herself. And I would very much appreciate it if you kept her out.
Miss Whitaker stood firm though. She said they were trying to ruin her image and twist the narrative. While she admitted to cheating, she insisted the situation was misunderstood and happened very differently.
Well, tell me what happened. Tell the court.
It wasn't something I was proud of, and he's not even a possible factor for the father. I have my conception date right here.
I'd like to see that evidence. Will you hand it to me, please?
I conceived at the beginning of August. I did not sleep with him until the end of August.
So let me understand this. You've prepared a calendar for the court.
Yes, ma'am. I slept with Christian every single night, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day.
I don't remember all.
Wow.
Things got even worse. Baby daddy said that 4 months into the pregnancy, he discovered not only the cheating but that there could be more than one possible father. That crushed any trust he had left.
It came out to me after she was pregnant. It came out that there are more than one possibility.
When did this come out?
This came out when she was maybe 3-4 months pregnant.
How did it come out? Who told you that?
She told her.
And that's a load of crap.
Y'all just having sex. Y'all know what you're doing.
Exactly.
You have no clue. Just kids engaging in adult activity. Absolutely no idea of the consequences.
And then came the biggest shocker. Baby daddy's name isn't even on the birth certificate. Miss Whitaker let her new boyfriend sign it instead, without ever informing the actual father.
Separated. I had started dating someone else.
Are you on the birth certificate?
No, ma'am.
I go there. He cuts the umbilical cord. He's on the birth certificate.
He didn't even cut the umbilical cord.
The boyfriend's name's on the birth certificate?
Yes, Your Honor. I have her birth certificate right here.
So hold on. This is a birth certificate of live birth. Brinley Ann Smith, and father's name is Nicholas Dwayne Smith.
At this point, resolution seemed impossible. The constant arguing, emotional outbursts, and family drama only made things worse. The only thing left that could settle it all, the truth hiding inside the DNA envelope.
Troll, you are her father.
I am.
Oh, God.
Then I apologize. I apologize for everything. I really do. I'm sorry I put you through this.
I'm just so happy after 2 years, you finally know you can finally start being there.
And I will be.
Give her a hug.
Would you be willing to give me a hug?
Can I give you a hug?
Case 5, Miss Thompson storms into court, shouting that she'll never let her 11-year marriage fall apart even though she cheated on her husband multiple times. She insists their 4-month-old child belongs to Mr. Thompson and claims his doubts are completely baseless.
It's very difficult. You know, I want Micah to be his son. I don't want to lose my best friend. We've been together for so long, and you know, I just don't want to lose him.
All right. Well, take me back. I want to understand how this relationship began. Certainly, at some point, you all were happy together.
Yes.
She's emotional and clearly doesn't want to lose her man, but Mr. Thompson isn't fully buying it. He says their marriage has been rocky for a while and throws in a jab about her being allergic to cooking and cleaning. No.
I found out she was doing some things that she shouldn't have been doing. Text messaging, meeting up with guys and stuff like that. So when I confronted her, she said it wasn't true. So when she said it wasn't true, I found out otherwise. I had to get a DNA test on my first two boys. We married, but every time while we're in a marriage, and every time you get pregnant, I gotta get a DNA test.
So here's where it gets weird, Mr. Thompson has DNA tested all their kids. That's not a great look for someone trying to prove loyalty. It's no surprise they've landed in front of Judge Lauren.
I was gonna ask the same question.
You know, I don't understand.
What happened in this relation?
Honestly, Your Honor, I think when we first got married, we really weren't ready to be married.
You didn't understand the depth of the commitment and the responsibility of marriage.
Exactly.
Okay.
This is why I felt went wrong in the marriage.
Miss Thompson's reason for cheating? She claims they got married at the wrong time and the relationship suffered. That's when she stepped out. A strange excuse, but it adds more fuel to Mr. Thompson's suspicions.
Me and LaToya had ample opportunities where I came to LaToya and I was like, listen here, you're not doing certain things in the marriage that should be going on. You're not working. If you're not gonna work, I need you to cook, clean, we need to have sex on the regular, things like that.
But was it just on her to fix, or was it both of you all?
But the thing about it is she really don't talk, so she don't tell me my fault.
Judge Loring is clearly over the drama and tells them to get to the point. Miss Thompson insists everything was fine until Mr. Thompson suddenly left. He says he just went out for Milka, and apparently it was really good milk.
I left, she said she was gonna work on herself. Me and her had ample conversations.
While he was with somebody else.
About her working on herself. She was working on herself because she deleted me off social media. I found out she started adding all these other dudes to her social media page.
Because you were gone. You were living with somebody else.
Then things took another turn. Mr. Thompson returned, hoping to fix things. Meanwhile, Miss Thompson traveled to Atlanta for a job interview, which turned out to be a visit to another man. Not just once, but twice.
She was like, well, we went out and my friend took my phone and she said, we out, so you don't need to be on the phone. I'm like, man, you married, you got kids, and what woman gonna tell you some trash like that?
So once she came back, how did you find out that she had been sleeping with someone else?
Well, I already knew what she was going to do. I didn't have no proof, but but I knew what she was going to do. Now,
Is that what you were going to do, Miss Thompson?
I can't even lie about it. Yeah, it was.
Now, that's the first time.
That was enough for Mr. Thompson to question baby Pate's paternity. Miss Thompson admits she has more to say, and when she does, it's even spicier. This situation isn't just messy, it's a whole soap opera.
Yes, it's true, Your Honor, but he skips over all the stuff that he did. Besides the going back and forth all summer between me and the other girl, and then moving all the way to Alabama with the girl and leaving me with the kids. But he want to talk about one time when he had the kids and they were looking for me.
So here we are, two adults who both crossed lines. The only thing that might keep this marriage alive is the DNA test. If baby Pate is Mr. Thompson's child, maybe, just maybe, there's still hope.
Listen, you are not the father. I know that's not what you wanted to hear.
Ms. Brewington and Mr. Lee are in Judge Lake's court to find out if Mr. Lee is really Ms. Brewington's baby father, but they are about to get the shock of their lives because we know that Judge Lake doesn't play.
Ms. Brewington, you are here to prove your 3-year-old son Giovanni is Mr. Lee's biological child and is denying paternity because he wants to avoid paying child support. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Lee is smiling like he knows something isn't right, while Ms. Brewington is determined to prove to the world that Mr. Lee fathered her 3-year-old son. It's still sketchy right now, but trust Judge Lake to dig deeper till we know who the real father of the child is.
So, Ms. Brewington, you claim you are 100% certain that Mr. Lee is the father, and can you tell me how you know?
Yes, Your Honor. I am without a doubt 100% certain that he is my son's father.
Me Brewington says she's without a doubt certain Mr. Lee gathered her son as he was the only man she was seeing during the window of conception. To top it all off, they were trying to work on their relationship at that time also.
So when I found out I was pregnant, I didn't think it was going to be a shock or a surprise or anything like that.
And you say you know 100% you're not the biological father of Giovanni.
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
Oops. Mr. Lee says he and Ms. Brewington were in fact not having any type of intercourse or working on their relationship when the child came to life. That's his reason for believing Ms. Brewington is spewing lies and just wants to force the child on him. But Ms. Brewington cuts in to remind Mr. Lee they were living together and, most importantly, the same bed.
Your Honor, I was living with him. We were living in the same household, in the same bed.
Were you living in the same house?
Around the time, yes.
But you weren't together.
Exactly.
So were you sharing a bed?
Yes, ma'am.
And fluid.
Okay. Mr. Lee confirms they were truly living together and in the same bed, but there was no relationship. Ms. Brewington doesn't agree with that, as she says they were sharing fluids too. Now this is confusing. Mr. Lee says there was no relationship. Ms. Brewington says there was one they were working on. Who?
You can still be sexually active with one another and not be in a relationship. So I guess this does beg the question, were you still having sex?
At the time of conceivement, no.
So you're saying during the window of time when Giovanni was conceived, you are certain that even though Ms. Brewington lived in your house and shared your bed, you weren't intimate with her?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, right. Was there an intimate relationship between these two? Mr. Lee says nothing like that happened during the window of conception. So Ms. Brewington gives us a detailed explanation on how she missed her birth control shot, and that led to the pregnancy, but Mr. Lee doesn't even believe her.
I do, because I'm going to explain it to you, Your Honor. How she said her birthday is the 2nd of February.
It's not.
Her birthday's on the 2nd of February.
My birthday's on the 1st of February.
2nd.
My birthday is on the... How you gonna tell me what day I was born? I was born on the 1st of February.
He said it's the 2nd.
Yeah.
So there's a back and forth about Ms. Brewington's birthday, and Mr. Lee seems to have a better hang of the date since there were a couple of memories attached to it. However, there's still a lot of back and forth concerning the pregnancy, as Mr. Lee denied it strongly at first, and then he changed his mind when he found out the baby was a boy. Okay, Mr. Lee is here denying again, so what's it going to be?
He came after I had given birth because he had work, but he showed right up. He actually didn't even, they asked about the birth certificate and everything. He signed the birth certificate.
She did not say that.
But you signed the birth certificate, right?
Yes, I did.
If you had all this denial,
And you say she eating fast food?
Now there's an issue about Mr. Lee signing the birth certificate even though he wasn't convinced that was his baby. But Mr. Lee says he thought it was just the right thing to do at that moment. The right thing to do? Well, let's see.
Well, I had another reason I did not think that it was mine is one of her friends, a good friend of her, actually told me that I wasn't the father.
Really?
She told me that she knows
My
who's the
friend
father.
told him that because she
Excuse
wanted
me, I
to
was
sleep
talking.
with him.
I'm still
I
talking.
actually caught them sleeping together.
Oh, there's another person in the picture that may be the problem. Okay, that's complicated, but can we trust Ms. Brewington, though? She is holding on to their resemblance even though she had told Mr. Lee multiple times he isn't the father? Whew. Let's get the result and know who the liar is.
Mr. Lee, you are not the father.
Told y'all.
Hold up.
I already knew it. I told you.
Ms. Cotton wants Mr. Pendleton to accept that he's the biological father of her baby, but that won't just fly with Mr. Pendleton as he is ready to go to war to prove Ms. Cotton is just making things up.
Pendleton's meddling mother is the reason he is denying your 5-month-old daughter, Love Cotton.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Pendleton, you are here today with your mother.
Oh. So there's Mr. Pendleton's mom in the equation, and Ms. Cotton believes she is the reason Mr. Pendleton won't accept he's her baby's biological father. While that has been established, Mr. Pendleton's reason for not believing he's the baby daddy is that he allegedly cannot medically father a child. Okay, let's learn more.
First of all, I just want to say his mother needs to mind her business. Like, at the end of the day, and I understand he's a mama's boy or however she treats him because that's your child. That's fine and dandy.
Ms. Cotton says Mr. Pendleton needs to step up and stop being a mama's boy, as he's already a grown man that should be ready to take up his responsibilities. On the other hand, Mr. Pendleton says the baby looks nothing like him, and it's also impossible because he's been trying to have kids for years and nothing happened. Now it gets even more complicated.
But when she got pregnant, she told me she was pregnant. Like 2 weeks later, she called me and said it's a possibility, that the baby might not be mine. So if you call me and tell me that, then I'm not supposed to believe you.
Okay, so you slept with somebody.
Right, but how many times though? Like she told me it was once.
One time in April.
But how can I
and
believe
we were not
you?
together.
When
So
I'm
at the
saying
end of the day,
you tell
I'm a
me that
grown
you
woman. I
did
can
it.
do whatever I want with
So
my
how are you
body.
100% sure?
Oh, Mr. Pendleton's mother is really meddling, but okay. So now, Mr. Pendleton enters the conversation and reveals how he thinks Ms. Cotton is just playing with his feelings since she had previously told him she slept with another person before the pregnancy situation came up.
It was protected until he took the condom off.
And that would be
But
unprotected.
she's 100% sure. So how can you be 100% sure if the guy took the condom off? You know what I'm saying? Like,
How can you be 100%
can't.
sure, Miss Cotton? I mean, that really is the question of the day besides the paternity.
because allegedly she looked like me. But she a baby. She ain't got her features yet.
Okay, the timeline is saying something else, Ms. Cotton. If the protection broke off in the middle of the activity, well, the person is also a potential father. But then again, Mr. Pendleton seems to have accepted somewhere in his heart that the baby is his. Because why is he thanking Judge Lake for complimenting the baby? That's laughable.
We'll start with the meddling that she says I'm doing. The only thing I've done is tell him, I told him I didn't want him to bring the baby around me for the same reason.
But I didn't want my baby around you anyway. She has a whole family that loves her unconditionally.
But if she's mine,
she
though,
don't
then she
need
got
you
a whole
at all. I
nother
have been
family.
taking.
Mr. Pendleton's mother says she isn't interested in meddling into her son's affair. She just does not want him to be a victim of paternity fraud, and that's also her reason for not getting close to the baby. Fair enough. And now Ms. Cotton is out here reminding the Pendletons when she was nothing but kind to them. That's fair too.
With your doctor's appointment because your conception date and the window got moved.
And they were trying to tell me that I wasn't as far as I knew I was. Like, they tried to make it seem like I wasn't, as far in my pregnancy. But I knew I was farther than what they were saying.
So you basically knew more than the doctor.
Ms. Cotton is maintaining her stance about her knowing her body more than any other person, which is fine. While ultrasounds may have their lapses too, it's unsure if that's what is happening in Ms. Cotton's case, but never say never.
That he is the biological father based upon the due date, right?
Yes.
Did you tell this other guy that he was a possibility?
He's relevant.
No, but did you tell him he was a possibility?
When I found out all the stuff that was going on, I was honest with him as well.
That's my point.
Ms. Cotton says the other guy is irrelevant, but in the same breath saying she told him he could be a potential father to the baby too. Ms. Cotton's honesty is applaudable, but let's not get carried away because Mr. Pendleton got another girlfriend and things got rocky between him and Ms. Cotton.
This is in text messages on Messenger and Facebook. Like, she hit my mom up, told her the same thing, the baby not yours. And then 2 weeks later or a couple of days, she'll hit me back like, oh, the baby yours. Like, make up your mind. Like, is it mine or not?
So, Miss Cotton, were you doing the back and forth because he was making you angry?
All of that back and forth, and there's last night? Is that a joke? Anyway, Mr. Pendleton pleads the fifth. Okay, going back to not being able to impregnate a woman, Ms. Cotton says it's not even once, but twice. Okay, we need the result to know if Mr. Pendleton really can't father a child, or he's just fooling around.
Mr. Pendleton, you are the father. So, congratulations.
This case of Ms. White versus Mr. Hawley has a lot more to it than anyone would expect. It's not just about proving Mr. Hawley is the biological father of Ms. White's child. Ms. White seems to have another skeleton in her closet. Let's find out what it is.
Ms. White, you are furious that your on-again, off-again boyfriend of 7.5 years got you pregnant and refuses to do anything for your daughter. You say he better step up and be a daddy when today's results prove what you have always known.
Ms. White says it is a 7-year on and off relationship, while Mr. Hawley says it was a 3-year on and off relationship. So now we are off to a bad start, as we don't know who is telling the truth.
Results are so important.
Today's result is important to me, Your Honor, because I grew up without my father. My father was deceased when my mom was pregnant with me, so I don't want my daughter to grow up without her father any longer.
You are overwhelmed.
I'm overwhelmed because I've been through too much by myself, and it's like...
Ms. White is on the stand being all emotional and teary. She's telling the judge she doesn't want to carry the responsibilities all by herself any longer, but it seems Mr. Hawley doesn't care about her emotions. It's hard to tell whether Mr. White is smiling or his face just looks like that. Let's find out more.
No.
And why is that?
Because I know I'm not her dad.
Okay.
Your Honor, it's like this. We was together for probably like 3 years. Around the time she got pregnant, Your Honor, we was living together. I was transporting cars from here to Miami twice a week. I would leave and go to Miami.
And so at that time, you did not feel like you and Ms. White were in a committed relationship?
Mr. Hawley says their intimacy wasn't even a frequent thing, and Ms. White is just trying to sweeten her story with the relationship troupe she is trying to build. Mr. White doesn't believe he fathered the child, and that's the reason he has neither seen her or tried to form a bond with her.
Take me to the day you find out you're pregnant.
I was having like this emotion, and I didn't know where it was coming from. You know, I just started feeling different. And one night I came home, me and Mr. Hawley was off this night. On again, off again relationship. I was still staying in his house.
There's another man. Now, Mr. Hawley's reason for being doubtful about being the biological father is valid, but we still can't rule out that he may be the father, even though Ms. White slept with another man. And there's the part where Mr. Hawley left the hospital after they told him his on and off lover was really pregnant because he believes that baby couldn't be his. We will find out if that's true or not, Mr. Hawley.
I do.
And Mikayla.
Yes. When I was pregnant.
So when you gave birth, Mr. Hawley wasn't there?
I called Mr. Hawley. Mr. Hawley told me, okay, if that is my baby, you can't be calling me every day because I'm in a relationship and my girl won't be having that. And I was like, what?
So you admittedly have not had any relationship with Mikayla.
The big gums, you say, Mr. Hawley? Okay. Anyway, Mr. Hawley is not accepting Ms. White's daughter because she doesn't have any of his features. Somebody put Mr. Hawley through biology so he'd know it's not only about bodily features, but for now, we need to know more about Mikayla's biological father.
She didn't show up for neither one.
So you think she was dodging the test because she knows
that it's not my baby.
That Mikayla's not your biological child. Meaning you have made every attempt to identify whether or not she's your biological child.
She told me it wasn't my baby, Your Honor.
So Mr. Hawley says he requested for DNA twice and Ms. White was MIA. Now that's cause for suspicion. Mr. Hawley is saying Ms. White has even told him before that he isn't the father. That makes everything more complicated.
I got a phone call from Ms. White telling me that she was pregnant, but it was a possibility that it was somebody else's baby also.
So how did you find out she had the baby?
Picture sent to me via Instagram, and when I looked at the picture, I've seen that she was mine because I've seen how she looked.
What is the evidence you're holding?
The picture that was sent to me
Let me see that. So you got this picture on your phone.
Mr. Parker, who is the other guy in the picture, says he believes the baby is his baby since they have similar features. And about the DNA test with Mr. Parker, well, turns out it was a lie.
I've been taking care of all my other kids. Why would I not take care of her child? If it's my child, I'm gonna take care of my child. I got all my doubts. I feel like that's not my baby.
So you don't think Makayla's your biological child?
No, I don't.
But Mr. Parker, you do believe she's yours.
Yes, ma'am.
And you are hoping that she's yours?
I hope she's mine.
Mr. Hawley doesn't want the baby to be his, Mr. Parker wants the baby to be his, and Ms. White also wants the baby to be for Mr. Parker. So it's all good since Mr. Parker himself isn't flinching about the situation, but there's still a possibility of Mr. Hawley being the biological father. Let's find out.
Mr. Parker, you are not the father.
My Lord.
Are we ready for the next result?
Let's do it.
Mr. Hawley, you are the father.
Right. Exactly.
I'm sorry, Mr. Parker.
When it's a woman suing a man, that's a normal and regular thing at Judge Lake's court. But two women coming together to sue one man, that's on a whole other level. So let's see how this goes.
Johnson, you both claim that you were pregnant at the same time with the defendant, Mr. Barber's children.
Yes, Your Honor.
You argue that he has not been a father to your kids and refuses to support them, but takes care of his other child.
Ms. Taylor and Ms. Johnson seem to have had their differences, but they are currently putting that aside to prove to Mr. Barber that he's the father of their kids, and he needs to step up and do better as their baby daddy. Mr. Barber says he doesn't have any problem with these women except for the fact that they demand for too much. Both parties now need to know about the paternity results and keep it moving.
Now, Ms. Taylor, why do you believe his other child and not you?
I believe that he supports his other child because he's still sleeping with his other child. Women pregnant at the same time, he is a dog. He doesn't do anything for my child.
Ow, that's a heated conversation. Ms. Taylor is done with Mr. Barber's BS and she's even calling him a dog? Seeing how Mr. Barber got 3 women pregnant at the same time? Well, anyway, Ms. Johnson butts in and confirms Ms. Taylor's story. Mr. Barber shouldn't have been sleeping with women he can't control since they are not his type.
You wholeheartedly admit that you are the father of all the children.
Yes,
so if I saw the birth certificates,
I have signed every single one of them.
Ms. Johnson?
Yeah, he's on mine. Is he on yours?
He on mine.
Ms. Taylor?
Oh, okay. Cut the umbilical cord and everything.
What?
Did he cut the umbilical cord for you?
That was quite emotional for Ms. Taylor, seeing she's the only woman in the picture who Mr. Barber wasn't there for during labor. That's sad, but Mr. Barber said he was at work. But then again, Ms. Taylor says she can't believe that because Mr. Barber always lies. Okay, emotions are riling up and things are getting out.
But I didn't show up. I wasn't there.
You did not come until hours
I didn't show
later.
up, but why?
You did not come until
Why?
hours
What did I tell you I was doing? What did I tell you I was doing?
What were you doing?
What was I doing? I was at work.
I don't know. You always lie. You always lie and say that you somewhere and you
I don't have to lie to you about where I'm at.
Lord have mercy. Mr. Barber is on the stand acting like he's getting sentenced to life imprisonment while he's only answering to his crazy lifestyle that led to multiple women allegedly birthing children for him. We wouldn't be here if you weren't everywhere, Mr. Barber. Time to tone it down a bit.
What I'm saying is, yes, I've done some things and I'm not perfect. No, I fall very short of that. But these women know that I love my children and they know that.
You don't show it.
How don't I show it? I just took my baby out 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, because
for you. What are you talking about?
Mr. Barber says the women know he loves his babies, but Ms. Taylor fights back saying he doesn't show it. It's hard to know who to blame here. But let's move on, because this case is about to get insane.
Women stand before the court today and say that you haven't stepped up to the plate financially.
At that time, Your Honor, no, I was not.
And why was that?
Because at that time, I was going through a lot myself. I was still a kid. We were having kids. I've been in group homes since I was 12 years old. All I know how to do is take care of myself.
Okay, Mr. Barber has been through a lot himself, and he says that was the reason he couldn't come through for those kids. Yeah, we are meant to feel pity for Mr. Barber, but to be honest, he isn't the victim in all of these. The kids are.
So I actually can make money. I travel. I do things to actually provide for the children. I can take them where they clothes and shoes and things of that. Wait, please. Like, that's not even true because I just took my son out.
Oh, Mr. Barber is an engineer now, and he claims he can step up to the plate and do right by his children. But these baby mamas are saying he hasn't done that yet. 2 packs and diapers, 3 outfits and shoes? Maybe Mr. Barber's engineering work is just taking off.
He had 3. He had me, he had another female, he had her.
So you're telling me he had 3 women pregnant at the same time?
Yes, Your Honor. At the very young, tender age of 18.
And we were all 18.
All of these women and Mr. Barber at the young age of 18? Now that's wild. But okay. Ms. Cooper says Mr. Barber is capable of being a good father, and the mothers are the problem, because they probably had the children out of spite. Maybe we should get to the results before these women start tearing each other up.
When you got these women pregnant, you didn't know who you were. But now you said you found yourself. You know what you're passionate about. You don't want to let the client down, but most importantly, you have to remember you don't want to let your child. Do you understand? You have to now step up to the plate.
Mr. Patterson and Ms. Knight are in front of Judge Lake today to know if Mr. Patterson is really the father of Ms. Knight's child. Let's get to the bottom of this real quick.
Opened your case today to prove that you are 4-year-old DeMarcus Patterson Jr.'s biological father. You named him and have cared for your junior since birth and are furious the defendant now claims another man is his father. Is this correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Patterson really wants the kid to be his, as he's been there since he was conceived. But Ms. Knight changed her mind and decided she's unsure if the baby genuinely belongs to Mr. Patterson, and she wants to find out in Judge Lake's paternity court. Better late than never.
Patterson, you testify you've been there since day one. Please explain.
I've been there since birth, since he came out the womb, since he entered this world. When the doctor first, held him up and finally gave him to him, I witnessed him just completely quit crying and looked me dead in my eyes, and that's when, at that moment, I knew I became someone's father. So at that moment, like all the doubts that we had before.
So Mr. Patterson had his doubts before, but he let go of all of that after he witnessed the birth and felt a different way as he carried the baby in his arms. Those doubts can't be overlooked, so we need to know about Ms. Knight's messy affair.
That Mr. Patterson is not DeMarcus's biological father?
I let DeMarcus know when I got pregnant that there was a possibility that I could be pregnant by someone else.
So you were honest from the start?
From the beginning, yes.
Do you remember this conversation, Mr. Patterson?
Yes, Your Honor, in a way. When she first told me she was pregnant, that's when we was like...
Interesting. Ms. Knight has been honest from the beginning. Also, Ms. Knight says Mr. Peterson had cheated on her while they were in the relationship, and that was her reason for stepping out for a minute as things didn't work out on the other side. Mr. Peterson seemed like he really did want to be with Ms. Knight and her baby, though.
I decided to leave because I wasn't over the fact that he cheated on me with this female. So yeah, I did that. But I found out I was pregnant while I was with Ladarius.
Okay, I want to go step by step because I want to understand. When you left, you ended up with Mr. Siegler.
Right.
Which is the other possible father.
Right. We ended up having protected sex that night, and then we ran out of condoms, and while we were doing it, I told him to go ahead and get me pregnant. That's what I told him. And as soon as I found out I was pregnant.
It's clear as the day that Mr. Peterson would cross the 7 seas for Ms. Knight, because it's rare to find a man who would be comfortable with something like that. True love still exists, but still, we need to know the biological father of this baby.
Patterson Jr., well, you definitely had to agree to that. So you signed the birth certificate?
Yes, Your Honor, I signed the birth certificate.
Willingly?
Yes, Your Honor.
Without a doubt at that time, you went on and signed it?
Yes, Your Honor. I mean, I was going to do the DNA test.
Okay,
and I looked at him, and then that's when I threw the DNA test out the picture.
At that moment, DeMarcus said, that is my baby. His name is going to be DeMarcus Latarius Patterson Jr. And I don't care what y'all got to say, and that's what it was.
But if you know the real truth.
Love is playing a major role in this relationship, but at the same time, there's already an intruder, and that could turn the whole situation around. Naming a baby you aren't sure is yours after yourself is a big step for any man. But seeing how Mr. Peterson is in love with Ms. Knight and that baby, he would even lay down his life for them to love.
Really could potentially be the other man's child.
Well, it was a conversation between me and DeMarcus we had off. DJ turned about 3 months, and I looked at him one time, and I was like, wow, he kind of looked like Ladarius.
Oh, so you all were open about this?
Yes, always open. We would take rides to the gas station. He'd show me pictures of Ladarius, like, you sure this ain't that? You sure this ain't that?
I ain't gonna lie. First,
and we were open about it, all very open about it.
This is a whole new level of maturity this couple have going on. They are even so open about the possibility of the other potential father. That's cool. Anyway, just because Mr. Peterson wasn't interested in dropping the half payment for DNA testing doesn't mean he hasn't been there for the baby, as Mr. Peterson strongly affirmed.
Her and and the other guy in DeMarcus Jr.'s life as well. So you didn't want either guy to be left out until you knew for sure?
I guess. It's look, my godmama ended up sending me pictures of it, and me and DeMarcus actually was in the same vehicle at the same time when she sent this one picture.
The 4-year-old has already been introduced to 2 separate families. Ms. Knight says they are all a big happy family, and Mr. Peterson should stop pretending. No one can say for sure who the baby daddy is with those dates except for the DNA test result. We need to also hear Mr. Sigler's part of the story.
Patterson's name, but could potentially have your DNA.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you believe you are DeMarcus Jr.'s biological father?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
You do?
Yes, Your Honor.
Why do you believe that?
In the midst of me and Caitlin having dealings or intimacy, I was the one who told her she was pregnant.
Mr. Sigler also strongly believes he's the 4-year-old's biological father since he was even the one that made Ms. Knight realize she was pregnant. Okay, enough of this back and forth. It's time to know who DeMarcus's biological father is.
The biological father is Mr. Sigler. You are DJ's biological father, Mr. Sigler. What do you feel right now?
Hurt. Could have been avoided.
It could have been avoided.
I love that little boy right there. I know you're going to be happy. You bring him out right now, you're going to run straight to me.
Mr. Jordan is done with Ms. Heim's tricks, and he's in paternity court to know if he's Ms. Heim's daughter's biological father. Ms. Heim, on the other hand, still believes Mr. Jordan is indeed the biological father of her daughter.
But 2 years later, you were told that another man is her biological father. You opened your case because you want DNA proof you are not the father so you can get your name removed from the birth certificate. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Heim, you admit to being unfaithful to Mr. Jordan, but say he is Caitlin's father.
Oh, Ms. Heim testified that she was unfaithful during the time she and Mr. Jordan were having sexual relationship. However, Mr. Jordan doesn't care he is getting different information after 2 years. He just wants to be out of the picture once the DNA test result reads that he's not the biological father.
Yes.
Explain.
She tricked me into thinking that I was the father. She tricked me into thinking that Caitlin was my first daughter. She tricked me into thinking that the other guy had done got a paternity test on Caitlin. Because she told me, oh, he already got one, and you know what I'm saying? That's why I know it's just you. She tricked me into thinking that family was something sacred.
So Ms. Heim intentionally tricked Mr. Jordan into believing the baby was his because she felt he is a provider and her baby would be safe under Mr. Jordan's care. Mr. Jordan believed Ms. Heim was being deceitful.
He's a great father, and I only had sex with one man when we were together, and I had sex with him one time, but we've been messing around for 7 years, and I never became pregnant. I met Chris, and all of a sudden I came pregnant, so I know Chris is the father.
So wait, you're saying that you were only having sex with one other man?
Ms. Heim denied being deceitful, but she agreed Mr. Jordan is a great father to her baby. Ms. Heim says she slept with the other potential father just one time, and she firmly believes Mr. Jordan is the father of her baby. Not because of any solid evidence, but she just knows in her spirit that Mr. Jordan is her daughter's biological father.
Listens to his family members, my family members, the people on the streets, and everything about that. And I just came today to show everybody on the streets, his family members, my family members, that he's the father, and I'm tired of it.
Because it is upsetting you?
Yes.
And it's because you feel like they're lying on you? Because Mr. Jordan says you consistently lie.
Ms. Heim says she's hurt because her daughter doesn't feel loved by Mr. Jordan any longer. But Mr. Jordan refutes the claim, saying, there has never been a time where the baby felt less loved around him. Well, let's see what happens next.
And the nasty afterbirth.
Everything. You know what I'm saying? I was there for the weird pregnancy cravings. I was there to rub the feet. I was there to get up out my sleep at night to go get pickles and ice cream. That's what I was doing, you know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, I never grew up with my parents. You know what I'm saying? So I'm real big on being a parent to my child. That, like, when this little girl was born, like, that would change my life. Like, that would did it for me. That's what made me start going in a positive direction.
Family member ruins the sweet, happy family? That's sad, but not entirely. A family member got really messy, but with pictures coming up and seeing one's supposed daughter with another man, anybody would doubt the paternity, and want to be out of the picture if he isn't the biological father.
And this is from Santavia's night, and it reads, me and my baby Kate.
My thing is, when anybody get the time to even take my daughter over to somebody else's house? Like how am I the last person to find out?
Do you know who this man is, Miss Heim?
That's the guy I had sex one time with when I met Chris. That's the one that I was having sex since 2010.
So what was Caitlin doing on his lap?
Being the last person to know your daughter is getting fatherly love from another man is a different type of nasty. Ms. Heim seems like she doesn't want to say the truth, and that's what is causing a problem here. Dropping the baby off at another man's house without the supposed father's permission is way out of line. Mr. Jordan is right about objecting to that part.
Father is Mr. Jordan or Santavia?
Chris.
Have you ever told Mr. Santavia's night, this gentleman here, that he is her biological?
Okay, Mr. Santavius assumed, but it doesn't dismiss the fact that Ms. Heim is being shady. Mr. Santavius walks into the room and says his own side of the story, which is different to what Ms. Heim had said. So who's lying now? Mr. Jordan needs to know the truth.
How often do you see Kate?
I see Caitlin when he ain't got her, or the people who at the school ain't got her. So she gonna sit here and just keep the post line instead of being real and just tell the truth. You know what I mean? It's still gonna come out anywhere it go. My baby, if it come out anyway, they gonna tell you.
Like she's crying.
You gonna sit here, you gonna have to apologize. This man gonna be crying. Still sitting here playing. Go and tell the truth. Keep it real.
Thank you, Mr. Santavius, for advising Ms. Heim to stop lying because the truth is going to come out anyway. Mr. Jordan is standing there not knowing what to believe. It's time to put him out of his misery. Let's see the result.
The biological father is Mr. Jordan. Mr. Jordan, you are Caitlin's biological father.